If you're looking for hundreds of beautifully illustrated monsters that you can use at your gaming table and at a fraction of the price of unpainted minis, the RPG Essentials Kickstarter offers exactly what you need. RPG Essentials offers a new perspective on fantasy gaming minis. These acrylic top-down tokens are durable, portable, and at a great price on Kickstarter right now. Each monster is illustrated from above, so they beautifully and seamlessly integrate into your RPG maps. Every illustration is painstakingly detailed by acclaimed fantasy illustrator Daryl T. Jones. Immersive and dynamic gameplay has never been easier. Bring every encounter to life. Enjoy more engaging and tactical combat. Fill your dungeons, forests, caves, and cities. You no longer have to use coins or buttons or M&Ms to represent creatures in your games. RPG Essentials has monsters for every adventure. All tokens have at least one variant available as well, such as different equipment or colors. They are beautifully illustrated on durable flat acrylic, so they are easy to store and carry. Again, all at a fraction of the price of standard minis. Monsters include 10 types of dragons, each in 4 sizes, hordes of goblins, orcs, kobolds, gnolls, and lizard folk, undead skeletons of all kinds, plus zombies, ghouls, and vampires, dinosaurs and prehistoric beasts, giant sea monsters, subterranean terrors, common animals, mounts, reptiles, and insects, NPCs, villagers, warriors, casters, and heroes from tons of different heritages, elementals, fae, and fiends, legendary giants, pretty much every creature you need for your adventures. Bring your games to life with 1,000 plus acrylic monsters, heroes, and NPCs cut to shape for easy and immersive use in your tabletop RPGs. Stunning tokens that are long-lasting, portable, vibrant, and perfectly priced. Back the RPG Essentials Kickstarter today. I know I'm about to. You might consider doing so as well. All right, here we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the live stream. We are going to be there. I'm going to talk a little bit about the OGL Creative Commons stuff this morning. There was a couple of things in the news that Zach sent me over that I want to take a look at. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll maybe answer some questions about that and stuff, but maybe, just maybe, we'll get back to some of our regular Q&A, which is mostly just talking about D&D or other RPGs, game master advice. You know, you have a problem player that you need to wring their neck and you just want some encouragement before you... Okay, yeah, don't do that. But anyway, the hope is that maybe we can get back to some normalcy sometime soon as things perhaps calm down for us, I hope, and life returns to quasi-normal, perhaps. But anyway, that's the goal for today. We'll talk a little about that stuff, answer some questions and all that kind of good stuff. But we do have some sleazy plugs and stuff that we got to get through, so let's do those. First, let's talk about, okay, we're doing a giveaway. We always do a giveaway every single live stream. There's going to be a constant reoccurring thing in the chat that'll prompt you to join the giveaway. Please join the giveaway. It's free, and you can win either a hard copy of Into the Fae, which is our first Kickstarter we did, a level 1 to 5 module for 5th edition, or you can get store credit on the DM Lair store. So there's tons of cool stuff that you can get. We actually just released Layers and Legends on the DM Lair store as well. That was our second Kickstarter. We have over 700 pages of Game Master content, adventures, monsters, puzzles, magic items, traps, tons and tons of crap you can use in your game. So that is now on the DM Lair store, so you can get store credit to go get that if you'd like as well. So anyway, that's the giveaway. You can join it. It's free. We will draw the winner at the end of the giveaway. One lucky person is going to get a whole bunch of cool stuff. So that's the giveaway. We are raising money for One More Child. They are our, I usually show off their little page here. Let me go up to them really quick. We're raising $500 for them. And where's my charity? I usually just show off their page really quick. So probably seeing their website lends legitimacy to them or something. I don't know. I usually just try to show it real quick. So we're raising $500 for One More Child. They basically help struggling children, vulnerable families and stuff like that. Some of the services that they do that I'm really excited about is, let's go, where is this? Our Care. It shows you right here. They do stuff for foster care. They help child hunger. They help single moms. And they do anti-trafficking. This is one of the things that one of the reasons I really started supporting them is that they work with like human trafficking victims in a very big way. And so I'm very excited. That's how I originally learned about them. And so anyway, our goal is to raise $500 for them. You can see there's like a little bar. There's a little bar right here that shows our progress. So we got a little bit of ways to go, but we'll get there. And remember too that my hair is getting messed up there. I gotta make sure I look good. What was I gonna say? Make sure if you want to support One More Child, make sure you send it as a tip, and there's a link in the chat for how you can tip. Please do not super chat charity contributions. You don't do it, please. YouTube gets like almost half of that money, and I want to send 100% of the money to One More Child. So that's our charity that we're raising money for. If you'd like to support, very, very appreciative. And then, oh, we got to do the patrons shout outs and stuff. Let's go over here. I gotta turn my fan on. I usually have my fan on, and for some reason I didn't turn it on today, which is really weird. Okay, so did my camera? Oh my gosh, I have my camera's not properly set up either, and I was behind today. There, now I have my camera up. I think I have my camera properly configured. Hold on, nope, hold on. There we go. There, now I think my camera's set up. Well, hold on a second. Hold on, there we go. I gotta get it just right. Okay, now I have my camera. Yeah, I was running behind today. All right, anyway, these wonderful people you see on screen right here are awesome patrons. They help support the content we create. I'm super, super appreciative because they literally help me do it. I do full-time. They help 2 of my team members are now full-time working for me, for the DM Lair, helping to create wonderful resources for all of you guys. And we have a crew of writers and cartographers, interior layout and design people, and artists as well that help create all of the content that we make for you. We have an editor for our videos and stuff. So these patrons really, really help with paying everybody so that we can create the content we create for you. And that includes the free content that we make as well. And it also includes the premium content, such as Lair Magazine. So I love my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very, very much. And these folks right here, they pay us more money, and so they get their names read out loud. Here we go. This keeps getting longer. Takes me longer, but that's good. That's a good thing. Here we go. I'll usually mispronounce half of these. 5e Magic Shop, Aaron J, Adam B, Alex, Alex S, Amanda W, Ambers, Andre U, Angelique K, Antoine B, Art Soccer, Arutha, Ashley, Barban, Ben B, Benjamin P, Berncastle, Brandon A, Caleb, Carl C, Chedeff, Chad K, Chris C, Christian V, Christine B, Christopher G, Clay W, Coinslot, Colin W, Connor D, Contrary Gravy, Daniel S, Danny T, Dap, Dark Cloud, Daz What Up, David S, Derek E, Doug, Duty K, Darren of Terra, Dutch. I swear, if I'm pronouncing Duty's name wrong, then they have to tell me because I need to make sure I pronounce that name properly. Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, and Frabo, Andorian, Eric B, Ern T, Erno T, Fabian H, Flux Forest Brew, Gabriel T, Gallus, Gene A, Jeff R, Goliath Cleric, Gravy Chorm, Greg P, Gregory H, Guapo, Harlan S, Helltongue, HLD, Iron Cascade, Izzy T, Jace F, Jackie Pizza, Jake L, Jacob K, Jelenko, James L, James N, Jan F, Jason G, Jeff F, Jessica J, Jim P, J M, Joanne P, Joe E, John, John A, John C, John H, John the Wicked, John Pinkosk. I gotta update that to a JP. That needs to be John P. I need to update that. Jonathan V, Johnny T, Joseph H, Josh M, Josh S, Joshua W, Justin N, K. That's how every name needs to be. Every name just needs to be a letter of the alphabet. That would be amazing. Carl Linsama, Keith L, Keith W, Kirby, Kerry Claw, Kyle M, Kyle W, Leonhardt, Linda, Lord Pablo, Magnet. You know what I could also do? I could condense all of the names. Like if there was like 5 Johns, I could just say John F, H, W, P, and N. Like I could just consolidate. Oh man, I'm having some ideas. Where did I leave off? Lord Pablo, Magna, Malton M, Manuel G, Mark K, Marty M, Matt B, Matthew J, Matthew C, Meepond, Mike S, Mirostal, Mitchell, Mr. 20s, Mr. Owl, Mr. Lincolnu, Nerd with Glasses, Nessie, Nomad, Old Mad Mage, Owen D, Penguin Butt, Pethnick, Pork Chop Bacon, Prophet 2.0, Psycho John, Psycho John, that's a cool name. Ramus, Randy B, Rebar, I like rebar too. That's cool. Renner C, Robert C, Robert J, Robin B, Russell, Ryan with a lowercase r, Ryan with an uppercase r. I think that's an important distinction. I don't know. That's just how it was in the Patreon when I took the names. Sale R, Sakura, Sam B, Scott V, Sean S, Shadow 1317, Shane L, Sheila A, Simfan, Snowy Tiggy, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul P, Soul Naya, Stephen T, Sturm, Tactical Tokens, Terran, Terry V, The Old DM, The New Bad Hombre, Thiago P, Thomas F, Tim B, Tekre. Need a vowel in there, man. Traveling Cash, Travels the Lost, it's Trinity Series, Tyler H, Tyler R, Unalloyed, Undying Warlock, Valagor, Vladimir S, Walt O, Wesley K, William C, XX Redrum, Yol R, Zachary J, Zoroman, Zombie Tommy. Whee! All right, thank you, folks. Appreciate it. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. I think we're doing questions now. My hubby, an auctioneer, could give you some advice in this reading. Thank you, Shadowcat. I think the reading of this is intentionally done poorly for comedic value. I could probably do a better job if I really, really tried, but I don't know. It's part of the fun of seeing how many names I can screw up and how many patrons forgive me and don't cancel. I'm just bad at pronouncing names. I don't know if any training would help me get better at that. All right. Get this positioned properly. There we go. Beautiful. You can monitor my tea and let me know when I'm getting low. All right, I think we're done with all the announcy stuff. So let's hit some questions. Whee! All right, we got questions coming in. Oh, hold on a second. I wanted to look at, before we go into questions, I wanted to look at some news crap that was out there. All right, so the first thing, for those, I mean, I think everybody here probably knows about what was happening with the OGL and the SRD and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's been all over RPG news and D&D news, and like every YouTuber and their brother, almost every YouTuber and their brother has, and their mother and their grandma, almost all of them have done videos to some extent talking about it. So I don't think I need to like start from ground zero. But the cool thing is last Friday, Wizards totally capitulated. I think, you know, what's interesting is I was talking about this with, who was I talking about it? Oh, it was my team. I was in a D&D game with my team members. Ed, Squeaky, you want to come up here? Come on. No, you want to just sit down there and bug me? Come on. He's just gonna sit down there and bug me. You know, so he likes to jump up here and just walk around like he owns the place. So we were in a D&D game on Friday, and we were just playing D&D. Zach was there. Sunny was in the game, Ed is in the game, and they're all my core team. And then there were two other players as well, and I know their in-game names. I don't really know their real-life names. Sorry, guys. I just know people by their character names. But anyway, there were 5 of us there playing, and then and then Zach was the game master, and then Zach was like, "Dude!" And then all of a sudden, we were all looking at the news of which Wizards rolling over and capitulating, and then we started discussing, like, you know, the D&D game got put on hold, understandably so, as we were looking at this, and we're discussing, like, what, this is crazy, because now many people thought, right, that they would never stop with the business of revoking OGL version 1.08. Nobody thought they would ever do that. That was like their line in the sand. That was the thing they were definitely going to do. And I was saying in my videos too that they're going to keep backing off on all of the different things, all the different terms. They're going to keep backing all the way down, but they're probably never going to stop that, you know, which is horrible. That was one of the only things that really mattered to many people, was not trying to revoke 1.0a, which many people, arguably so, legally, you know, with lots of good legal rationale, argued that it could not be revoked. But a lot of us believe that they would never back down on that. And so when on Friday they announced that not only were they backing down on it, but they took the entire SRD 5.1 and put it under a very, very good, permissive, generous Creative Commons license. Because Creative Commons licenses vary a little bit. Some of them are really restrictive. Others are pretty open, and you can kind of woo. They put it under a very good one, from my understanding. And when we saw that not only did they back down on not trying to revoke it, which, yeah, they legally probably couldn't do anyway. It could have been a bluff. I don't know. But anyway, not only did they back down on that point, although they could take that matter up in about 6 months or so. So let's not Let's be careful. Let's use our brains and understand, right? But anyway, not only did they back down on that for now, but they also took SRD 5.1 and put it into the Creative Commons. And now here's the thing. When they initially were talking about putting the SRD into Creative Commons, like about probably over a week ago now, a week and a half ago or something like that, they were only going to take a tiny bit of the SRD and put it into Creative Commons. And the part that they were going to put into Creative Commons was the part that they probably didn't have a right to copyright anyway, because it was mostly game mechanics and you can't really copyright those. And so it was a nothing burger. It was nothing. They were going to put something in Creative Commons that gave us nothing because they couldn't claim copyright to it anyway. We could have used game mechanics regardless. And so, and I think I talked about that in one of my videos. But then on Friday, they took and put the whole thing 5.1 into the Creative Commons. And then there have been lots of people talking on live streams and videos about how not only did they just throw it all in there, but there are some things that made their way in there that previously Wizards told us in their OGL 1.0a that we couldn't use. For instance, Mind Beholders got in there, and there were some Strahd von Zarovich got in there, and there were some other things that are typically considered IP of Wizards that we couldn't use under OGL 1.0a that got in there. And so now people are like, whoa, how did that get in there? Well, so how did it get in there? This is interesting. I think what happened, and we were talking about this in my D&D game, but I think what happened, I suspect that what happened is that Wizards was bleeding so much money so fast. It was like, it was like their arm was just lopped off and it was just gushing, and they had to staunch the blood flow as fast as possible. If you think about it, I was listening to a live stream yesterday by Roll for Combat where they were interviewing Darcy. Oh crap, what's his first name? I think it's Ryan Darcy. I should know better. I've talked about him a lot. But anyway, if somebody in chat can correct me on his full name, I would appreciate it, because I'm blanking right now. It is Ryan Darcy. Dancy, that's it. Okay, thank you. Anyway, they were interviewing him. That guy's amazing, by the way. That guy is amazing. Anyway, they were interviewing him, and they were just thinking about how much money were they actually losing? Like, how much could it have been? And then they started to think, well, it's possible. Let's pretend that like there's I think they were like, there's 500,000 people. Let's pretend there's 500,000 people on D&D Beyond, and they had subscriptions. And then according to reports, somewhere near like 40,000 people had canceled their subscriptions. And then they were like, well, that's 10%, dude. Like, in the course of like a week or two, you lost 10% of your revenue. That's crazy. That's huge, right? And then imagine if that kept going on, because people weren't getting quieter. The community was not getting any quieter, right? The level of like, and then it was going on. Not only was it making like, NPR and like other news streams, but it started to get to national news level, right? Like this was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Wizards has like their movie coming out soon. There are like toy conventions that Hasbro execs have to go to. And these toy people apparently are going to ask some really hard questions. Like, why are you screwing us all over? Like, what's going on? So they had some stuff coming up and they were losing tons of money. And it was not an insignificant amount of money. And it was probably a lot of the people like me who had been, I've been a D&D Beyond subscriber for 4 years maybe or something. I don't know what it was, because I would use that service and I would share it with my players and stuff, and we'd play our games using it. And so I canceled. And there were lots of other people that have just been long time, here's my $5 or $10 or whatever it was every month, and I'm gonna buy the books and stuff so I can use them. And tons of people just, and so they were losing long-term customers. They weren't losing churn. Like, there's always, when you have a subscription service, like there's always people that will come on and then they'll stay there for maybe a month or two and then they leave, right? That's churn, right? That's just gonna happen. But then you have people that have been there for the long haul, that they're probably just gonna keep giving you money forever because they're just using your subscription service and they like it, right? They were losing those people. And so it's hypothesized that they probably got set back like years on their like business goals and their revenue goals and stuff because of that, because of what happened in like 2 weeks. Okay, so imagine you're the executives, right? And things are just going off a cliff. You're basically in freak out mode. Like they're probably in conference rooms and all day long, talking to people all day long. They're in like crisis management mode. I was at a corporation, I worked at a big corporation once, and they once had a crazy emergency similar to this. They were in violation. It was a financial services firm, and they were in violation of like an SEC thing. There was some rule or regulation with the SEC that they were suddenly in violation of because something, I think there was a software glitch or something. And holy crap, there was a war room designated, and they were in like 24/7. There were people there trying to figure it out for like 2 weeks. Not the same people, you got to give them breaks, but it was nonstop. It's like, you got to solve this major emergency. Holy freaking crap. I think the company was getting fined like, I don't know, $100,000 or something a day. Like there were significant fines every single day that you were in breach of whatever this SEC thing was. I don't remember all the details, right? But anyway, it was crisis. So I imagine the same thing was going on at Wizards, right? They're like in crisis management mode, right? Everything is just going crazy, right? And they're just like, we got to fix this. We got to fix this. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. And our current strategy, well, first of all, they had the strategy of basically just getting snarky and like lording their power over us. And that didn't work very well for them. And then they changed the tone of their announcements to us, and Kyle Brink came on and started to take on a more personal, humanized tone, and there was a much better public relations strategy right there than what they were doing beforehand. And so, but that still, and then they were backing down on stuff. They were trying to, and it still wasn't working. It still wasn't working. And then they put out the survey, right? And overwhelmingly, like I did the survey. Do you know what I said in every single one? Almost every single answer. I just went through it and was basically like, I don't care. I just want you to stop this business. Don't revoke 1.0A. That's it. Stop trying to revoke it. Stop trying to revoke it. Stop trying to stop. That's all I cared about. Like, that's all I was saying. Every single open form response. Now, there were some, I put a little bit more information to address the question because I thought there was something important there to say too. But mostly I was just saying, stop it. Stop trying to revoke this thing. So anyway, I think they finally got the message that like, trying to negotiate on the terms of OGL 1.1 or 1.2 or 2.0, they kept flopping the numbers all over the place, so I kind of got them confused a little bit. But I think they finally got the idea that like that wasn't going to work. Like the arm was still gushing blood, and they had to get that taken care of. And so I think that it appears that in an ultimate like we have to get this done now, they just took the SRD and they threw it into Creative Commons without, you must assume that there wasn't a sort of in-depth substantive review of it. Like they were like just total freak out, like holy crap, like we have to stop this right now. And I'm sure there were people like, well, let's just announce that we're no longer going to revoke it, right? We're done with that. No, they won't believe us. They won't believe us. They're just going to say we're lying, you know? And so, rightly so, because for 23 years, it was fine, and we all believed it was unrevocable, and then they took up the idea of trying to revoke it. So they were probably like, well, let's just say we're not going to revoke it. And then there were other voices that said, dude, they're not going to believe us. They won't believe us. Okay. How can we make them believe us? Well, what if you just take all of the SRD and put it into Creative Commons? It's literally not revocable. Like at that point, it's out of our hands. They have to believe us then, right? Yeah, they have to, because we can't revoke it. It's impossible. Okay, cool. Throw it in there. Well, shouldn't we review it first? We don't have time. Just put it in there. Holy crap. We're gonna lose it. And then they just threw it in there. And now, as the dust is settling, we're finding stuff in there that's interesting, right? The Beholder's in there, Stradvan Zorovich is in there. I don't know if other things did Mind Flayer make it in there? Something tells me that Mind Flayer make it in there. But anyway, point is, in an ultimate act of desperation, because things were tanking so bad, they threw it into Creative Commons, and now things are coming to light in there that maybe they didn't want to go in there. But it's too late now. So I see it as an overwhelming victory, right? For everyone who likes the hobby, likes the game, likes the open, likes the fact that, RPGs have been on the increase and have been doing well, and people are loving and enjoying the hobby. So I think everybody who loves the hobby, who loves role-playing games, it was a victory for all of us, right? And so it was really cool. Now, there are questions that remain, right? Like, I don't think it's done yet either, because I really think they should still take the OGL 1.0A and make it unrevocable. Do something legally to make that unrevocable. Because the thing is that until they take that step, I don't know how many people are going to trust it or them. Now, I know there are some publishers that have said that now they're going to continue, at least one of them that I say some, but I know of one that is going to continue using OGL version 1.0a, because there are lots of good things that it brought to the table, right? But I don't know. It's like, can you trust that at this point 6 months from now? You know, because this is what's gonna happen. This is how I kind of see things playing out. So I feel like a lot of people are probably gonna go to Creative Commons and start using that because it's safer. There are some restrictions on it. I think a lot of people are gonna go to that. And then once Orc comes out, the new Orc license that Paizo and that massive community of like over 1,500 people, actually the DM Lair is involved in that too. Zach, Goliath Cleric in chat is our main point of contact, who's working with all of that massive community as well, contributing, giving ideas and feedback to the Orc as well. So we're involved in that as well. And I think a lot of people are probably going to, once the Orc comes out, they're going to see, okay, how can we use that and other things that might come out, you know, because it's possible too that other companies, I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that, so Cobalt Press, for instance, their Black Flag RPG that's going to be coming out, which from all intents and purposes, as far as we can see, it looks like it's going to be 5th edition compatible. My hope is that they would put that under Orc and then allow people to use the content in there and, you know, and develop on that. So I think some people are obviously going to wait until some of the dust settles and sees how the Orc shapes out and stuff like that. But I really feel like using OGL version 1.08 is really risky business at this point, because they could take up this case in 6 months about revoking it or something, because as people right now have different venue or different ways they can go with publishing things, we're going to start doing stuff. You know, if we don't trust 1.0a, we're going to find different ways to publish, whether it's with Orc, whether it's with Creative Commons or something. And then 6 months from now, once a lot of publishers, let's hypothesize, once a lot of publishers have stopped using OGL version 1.0a, let's pretend, then maybe the plan is, now that most people are off from it and doing something else, now we can safely revoke it or try to revoke it or whatever they want to do, because people have less of a vested interest in it. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know if people are actually going to shift away from it and they're going to go to Orc or they're going to go to Creative Commons. We'll have to see how things shape out. But my point is, the point I want to make is that I don't know that we can rest assured that they're going to leave 1.0a alone. Like, they picked they instigated that whole matter at a really bad time for them as a business, with conventions coming up, with the movie release coming out. Paramount was probably on the phone with them going nuts, you know, like, what are you doing? You're going to tank this movie, you moron, stop, you know. So they picked a really bad time to do this, and they didn't anticipate the level of community support and / outrage around it. So I think that as people start doing other things and get themselves off from OGL version 1.0a, I would not take it off the table that they won't try to do this in the future, right? Hoping that there won't be such a big problem because people are doing other things at that point. So that is always a possibility. That would be my concern. So I still feel like, as a publisher, that it's not safe to use it, you know, because like, and people will say, well, you can never revoke it. It can't be revoked and stuff. And that's great, you know, but as long as Wizards could possibly try to do it and hold things up in court and sue people and stuff, like, I don't know, it's not safe. Do I really want to be involved in that? I'd rather do something safe myself. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff there that like remains to be considered and thought about on that. So I just, honestly, what do I want to do? I want this cat to stop bugging me, or jump up here, you moron. I want life to go back to normal. You know, I want this to get all over with so that we can just go back to making fun videos that help dungeon masters, you know, do some stupid sketches that are supposed to be funny and satirical, and then do live streams, asking Q&A questions, just helping people in their games, you know, publishing our content, developing resources that help game masters run their games, you know, drag and drop adventures and stuff. I want things to just go back to normal. That's what I want. So I hope I'm optimistic things are a path forward is gonna shape out for this, you know? So yeah, that's kind of like, I think that's kind of a brief-ish summary. And then, you know, I think we need to keep our eyes open going forward, because you don't know what may or may not happen. So, all right, I want to take a quick moment here to just tell you really quickly about this Kickstarter that's going on. This is the RPG Essentials Kickstarter. You guys, you can get over 1,000 acrylic monsters. Look at these little cutouts. They're acrylic. They're finished in acrylic, so they're going to be long lasting. Look how portable these things are. You can fill these things up in binders and stuff, take them to conventions and crap with you. So this is really cool. I'm going to go to the Kickstarter page right now and just kind of, well, let's go see where they're sitting at. These dudes right now are over 200,000. Look, it's going up. It's going up right now. Over 200,000. They have a stretch goal at 220K. I backed this at the $168 level because this is what I backed it at. It gives me like one of everything. I wanted one of every single token. So, and it gives me a couple binders to put them in. These are the things that I'll be taking to conventions with me when I run games at conventions because they're portable, and I don't want to take a bunch of minis with me. It takes a lot of space up. So anyway, I was excited about this. Now these illustrations are done by Daryl T. Jones. He is like a renowned fantasy illustrator. And the other cool thing about these, you guys, is that these are not affected. These cannot be affected by the the open game license or any of this stuff, because they're literally just illustrations that he has made of monsters. You know, he's made these illustrations and stuff, so there's no worry about all that kind of stuff. So anyway, go check this thing out. It's pretty cool. There we go. All right, now let's hit some questions. Let's hit some questions for a little bit. There was like some more news items I wanted to look at. I think we're going to look at these after I get through some questions, because I know I've just been talking and haven't answered any questions. But there were a couple of news items I wanted to look at. I'll give you a teaser right now. They released the SRD onto Dungeons and Dragons, the dndwizards.com. So I wanted to take a look at some of this stuff. And also there was a cool article on Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news about Hasbro, and it's titled "Where Are the Board Gamers?" I thought that was very interesting. So we're gonna take a look at that, but I'm gonna do some questions first, because I know we got some questions coming in. All right, here's a good question. How do Chris Kao and Cynthia Williams still have their jobs? You know, this is very interesting because I saw a tweet this morning. Jenny D sent out a tweet asking people, hey, so if you guys don't know, there are 4 different YouTubers that have been chosen to interview Wizards of the Coast. I don't think it's a secret, and I don't think I'm supposed to keep this secret. Bob Worldbuilder, Jenny D, Nerd Immersion, I think his name is Ted. It's either Ted or Ned. I think it's Ted, because I get it mixed up because it's Nerd Immersion with an N, and then I think his name is Ned for some reason, because I'm just it's Ted from Nerd Immersion. And then there's a guy called Hume. I think he runs like a High Rollers actual play or something. I don't know what his first name is. Last name is Hume. I'm not super familiar with him. I'm sure somebody in the chat. Mark Humes, thank you. Mark Humes. So those 4 people have been chosen to interview Kyle Brink, the executive producer of D&D. And it'll be like pre-recorded and then put out and stuff. But my point is this. Jenny D put out a tweet saying, hey, what question should I ask, right? And then Ryan Dancy responded saying, we want to know the hierarchy, the reporting structure, like who reports to who and who is responsible for the decision of like doing this whole business of the 1.0A revoking and all this kind of stuff. Like, we want to know who's responsible for this. They'll never answer that question. They will never answer that question, because that's literally like I love the question. I think the question should be asked so that their decline to answer can be on record and then published. Like, this is one of the things I really want to see happen, you guys. I really, really, really want to see this. I want to see the interview and all of the questions that are asked, and then if they decline to answer a question, I want that to be shown in the interview video. That's important. It is very important to know what questions were asked and which ones they declined to answer. That's super important, and I want that in the video. Like, I don't want that to just be edited out. I think that would be doing a disservice. I personally think it's important to know what all of the questions that were asked and which ones they answered, and then what their answers were, obviously, and then which ones they declined to answer. I think that should all be on the record. It should be in the video, and that's how I feel. I will trust what I see a whole lot more if I see that. If it's mostly just like, well, these are the questions they answered and we'll show them to you, you know, but there's a whole bunch that they didn't want to answer. Like that makes that less satisfying to me. So I would love to see them getting asked the hard questions, the questions that make them feel uncomfortable perhaps, and then declining to answer, because I think that's fair. And there are some questions like, you know, who's responsible for this, that's a good question, you know, but they'll never answer it because essentially that question kind of is rooted in starting off like a witch hunt, you know. Well, it's not actually, it wouldn't actually be a witch hunt. It would actually be just finding out who's responsible. But you know where that would lead. That would just lead for that person being called to be fired or resign or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're going to answer that question, but we all knew who it was. I mean, it seems apparent by what we've learned and what different people have revealed that Chris Ko must be like the primary person behind that, you know. Cynthia Williams may or may not have been involved, probably. The thing is that when you have a corporation like that, Chris K, like Cynthia Williams is at the very top, you know, and then there are a whole bunch of people below her that are doing things. And the people below her that are doing things, they have touch points with her. Everything gets run by her. They make their cases, they make their proposals. She gives their blessing to the big picture things. The big picture things are they receive her blessing before they proceed forward. She probably doesn't micromanage all the details, but like the big picture, hey, we're going to try to revoke 1.0A. We're going to get a whole bunch of people to sign 1.1 so that, and then it's going to help us push forward with our digital little plan and all this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. That, you know, that's the sort of thing that Cynthia Williams would almost assuredly okay, as Chris Ko was the point person on implementing it. You know, so at some point, like, Cynthia Williams has to be responsible to some degree. She can't claim that she didn't know about it. That's ridiculous. She's, you know, that would just be like asleep at the wheel of the company you're supposed to be run, you know. Chris Ko, though, like, he's for sure the guy behind it. Kyle Brink, I think, had nothing to do with this probably. Even though Kyle Brink has now become the public face of the whole thing, like he was the sacrificial lamb, or is the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Right, he's now the public face of it. He's saying all these things. He's doing the interviews and stuff. Like, I honestly, I don't want to. This guy, like, I would hate to be this guy. I think this is crazy. Like, he's like the scapegoat. You know, like if this all blows up and goes bad, you know, the fingers are going to be there. You know, and when some people at Hasbro and stockholders and stuff are demanding blood, you know, because things are tanking really bad. You know, yeah, I would hate to be. Yeah, so Kyle, I don't envy that position and stuff. I hope you're getting well compensated for that, is all I can say, because that's nutso. You know, it really should be, Chris Ko should be the one doing that. He's the one that should be doing those interviews. He's the one that should be communicating with people, because it's his idea, man. He's the one that is behind, he's like probably the you know, yeah. So anyway, I don't know how they still have their jobs, but it hasn't all shaken out yet. It hasn't all shaken out yet because, you know, things are still fresh and they're still just trying to like, they're still just staunching the blood flow, you know. Where can I submit homebrew to be reviewed? I would join our Discord server, and we have a channel there. I'm pretty sure we have a homebrew channel. You can put something up there that you want the community to take a look at, and people will give you feedback on your thing. Potentially, maybe they won't, maybe they will. I don't know. I would do that. I think that's probably a good place to start. I have cats fighting behind me. What's up, Squeaky? Any tea that you like? Yes. Gabrielle, thank you so much. That is an excellent question. I love peppermint tea, mint tea. I love mint tea. Mint. Lemon, some lemon in there is pretty good. I get a whole bunch of different types of tea, but I really like mint in my tea. Like this right here that I'm drinking right now is literally, I'll get it out of the trash for you. Here we go. It is herbal tea, sweet peppermint blend. I also like Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey tea is very, very nice. English breakfast tea, I think, is good from time to time. It's got a very strong punch to it, but sometimes I'm in the mood for that. I drink a lot of green tea. I drink tons of green tea too. A lot of times decaffeinated. But yeah, those are my teas. Lord God, another question. Are you going to start publishing content for Pathfinder in the regular channels like VODs and Lair magazine? So the videos and Lair magazine. Loving the nautical rules from Maritime and Madness, by the way. Cool, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. We are nautical, so he's referencing the nautical rules. We made a rule set for running nautical battles, essentially. I think we published that. Zach, Goliath Claire, could you let people know in chat when we published that? I think it was last year in November, I think it was November. But and then it was December. Okay, so our December issue of Lair magazine had our nautical rule set. So it basically gives you a way to run nautical battles, and you can customize and create your own ships. Like we didn't just give you stat blocks for like 3 different types of ships. We literally gave you some template stat blocks and then different things you could customize about your ship. You could create like you want to have like a catapult crew, or you want to have this thing on your ship or that thing on your ship. And then we had different roles that the adventurers, your PCs, could take on that ship to help contribute to the combats and stuff. You know, so we had this little rule set that made it really cool. Customize your ship, have roles and stuff, and then have naval combat in a really cool customizable way. And the rule set wasn't super long. I think it was maybe 5 to 8 pages or something like that. And I really dig rule sets that are lightweight because it's quick and easy for you as the dungeon master to learn, and then you can teach it to your players pretty quickly, and then you can use it at the game table. Because when you have a rule set that's like 200 pages long or really super long or something, like you're never going to use it. We all know the practical nature. You're not going to use something that only takes up like, 1% of your game time. You know, you want to have when you have a special circumstance such as naval combat or warfare, like large armies coming together, when you have special niche situations like that, you really want to have rule sets that are lightweight, quick to learn, quick to teach to your players, because then you're going to have a better guarantee that you're actually going to use them. And so that's why I like doing these like nautical rules that people can actually use, and not just have a book that looks cool on your shelf but you never actually read it or use it. My cat's over there going crazy on the box. We are actually publishing, wait, when did our warfare? Ooh, this month. This month we published our warfare mass combat and sieges rule set. That is out right now for patrons, and that does the exact same thing. It gives you a way to run mass combat and sieges at your game table, but the rule set is lightweight. It's easy to learn and use and teach to your players and stuff. So that's out right now. And I love these rule sets because they're stuff that people can actually use. We could have made probably big books on this stuff, but I think that's less useful for people. So anyway, that was a tangent. I'm sorry. The question that Lord God was actually trying to ask is, are we going to start publishing content for Pathfinder? This is our plan right now. The long and short of it is yes, and let me explain. Okay, so we have this idea as a publishing team, like my core team and I have this idea of what we would like to do. And essentially, our game plan is to be able to make it so that the resources we publish, Lair magazine, for instance, the adventures we publish, the standalone adventures, are maybe our rule sets, and those things. We want to make the things that we publish usable for a variety of game systems, not just 5th edition. And so our short-term and long-term goals align with making it so that when you get an issue of Lair magazine, you're going to be able to use it for 5th edition. You're going to be able to use it for Pathfinder 2nd edition. You're going to be able to use it potentially for other things that are out there. You know, it depends. Now, that we want to make Lair magazine and our publications as usable as possible to as many people as possible, so that it encompasses the big game sets, you know. And so that's our long-term vision of where we kind of want to take things. This is probably over the year to 2 years as we start to get things aligned to support that. Now, short term, my team is we're all learning Pathfinder 2nd edition because we want to transition to Pathfinder 2nd edition first, which means that Lair magazine and all of our resources are still always going to be usable with D&D 5th edition. They're always going to be usable with 5th edition. So if you want to keep playing 5th edition, spectacular. I'm going to keep playing 5th edition for some of my games. I'm going to move to Pathfinder 2nd edition for others of my games. But if you want to keep using 5th edition, beautiful. Our resources are going to be for you. Also, though, if you are transitioning to Pathfinder 2nd edition, we want our resources to be usable by you as well. We want to make our resources usable by as many people as possible. That's our goal. Our goal is to give people resources they can use in their games to reduce their prep time and still run awesome games. That's our goal. And so the more people that we can help do that, it's a win for them. Obviously, it's a win for us as a business because now there's more people that are going to be interested in, might buy our products too. So it's a win-win, right? So eventually we want to make it so that Lair magazine can also be used for Pathfinder 2nd edition. That's our first step, right? And it's going to be the same. It'll be the same issue of Lair magazine. I have envisioned a way that we should be able to we won't have to have two different like versions, like Lair magazine for 5th edition, Lair magazine for Pathfinder. I don't think we need to do that. I think we can get it all into one. I think there's a way to do it because because of the nature of the resources we publish resources for game masters. We don't publish resources for players. If we were publishing player resources, I think it would be a different story. But because we mostly publish for game masters, I think there's a way for us to do that. And so we're moving toward that, and we're exploring that right now and figuring out how we can do that. And so first it'll be Pathfinder 2nd edition, and then we'll see where it goes from there. That's the first step. We got to get that implemented. We got to get that system worked out. We got to get that honed and tightened down so that works well. And then we can start thinking about where we might go after that, But just remember too, that part of that transition not only involves the technicalities of how to publish it and make it still easy to use. I still want things to be easy to use. But it also involves my team and I learning those systems well enough that we can competently publish that content and have it work and be high quality. We don't want to just throw garbage out there and hope it sticks against the wall. That wouldn't be fair to people that are getting the content, right? That are getting Lair magazine and stuff. So that's our goal. That's our game plan. That's the short term and that's the long term of where we're hoping to go for the products that we publish. As far as like the YouTube channel and stuff, the videos, most of my videos, 80% to 90% of my videos the system doesn't matter anyway. I might say D&D, I might use it in the title or something, right? Because that's the YouTuber game that you have to play. You have to entice people to click on your videos and watch your videos. You almost have to trick people. If you have a video that's full of useful information, right? And I want people to like get some useful information. It's sad, but you almost gotta trick people to watch your videos. And so you have to play that game. And if you don't play that game, you get no views. And then very few people actually get your useful content. So it's a crummy game that we have to play, but we toe the line against being just like scummy clickbaiters but then creating thumbnails and titles that entice you to watch. And so, but it's the game we have to play. Otherwise, nobody watches your stuff, and then you can have a video full of amazing content that nobody watches. So anyway, my point is that we may still like use D&D for brand recognition and stuff like that, but most of the content of our videos are useful for game masters anywhere, But here's the other thing. As I start playing Pathfinder 2nd edition more and more, and as I get more and more into it, I 100% guarantee you that you're probably going to see more videos about it. Because whatever I'm interested in and whatever I find exciting, I'm going to make videos about those. I'm going to be making videos because it's just, I get excited about it and I want to share with people and I want to help people. I know there's lots of people that play Pathfinder too. And there's even more people going to play Pathfinder because, Paizo's warehouse is totally sold out, 8 months of inventory. So we know lots of people are interested in Pathfinder. So that means that, hey, there's a lot of people that could use some help. Cool. Let's make some videos for them. So that's probably going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. Here's the thing too. I want to make sure that when I create resources for you, whether it is our print publications or whether it's our videos, I want to make sure that I'm creating quality stuff for you. So right now, my knowledge of Pathfinder is limited and I'm growing and learning. I feel like if I were to talk too much about it, like I might not be giving the best information. So I want to make sure that I'm giving quality information on things as well, which means I need to learn and develop my expertise on things. Now, fortunately, when you're coming from being a game master, a dungeon master for over 20 years or whatever, and then running D&D 5th edition, fortunately, going over to Pathfinder 2nd edition is similar to like, let's pretend you're a computer programmer, a software engineer, and you know C++. Cool, I know C++ or C# or something. And then you're going to learn Java. Well, that's not that hard of a transition. There's a couple things. Java has all of the variables in Java are pointers as opposed. There's some distinct differences. C++, you got to do memory management. In Java, you just kind of don't. There's the heap. It just takes care of itself. There's some things to learn, but mostly you can just kind of transition from one to the other fairly quickly and learn a new language. And so for me, it's a similar thing. I think we're going to transition pretty quickly to Pathfinder 2nd edition. It's not going to be that big of a deal. I've already written my first adventure for my home group that I play here in my house for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The adventure is pretty much done. I just got to tweak a few things on it, and then we're going to start playing Pathfinder. It wasn't too tough. You know, there's a few things I got to reference and pick up and stuff, and it'll be shaky a little bit at first, but I'm pretty confident we're going to... It's not that hard. It's pretty good. All right. Got to get this positioned properly. Oh, I also wanted to talk about something else. Cool. I wanted to talk about a cool thing my team and I are going to do. But first, now if you're looking for hundreds of beautifully illustrated monsters that you can use at your gaming table and at a fraction of the price of unpainted minis, the RPG Essentials Kickstarter offers exactly what you need. RPG Essentials offers a new perspective on fantasy gaming minis. These acrylic top-down tokens are durable, portable, and at a great price on Kickstarter right now. Each monster is illustrated from above, so they beautifully and seamlessly integrate into your RPG maps. Every illustration is painstakingly detailed by acclaimed fantasy illustrator Daryl T. Jones. Immersive and dynamic gameplay has never been easier. Bring every encounter to life. Enjoy more engaging and tactical combat. Fill your dungeons, forests, caves, and cities. You no longer have to use coins or buttons or M&Ms to represent creatures in your games. RPG Essentials has monsters for every adventure. All tokens have at least one variant available as well, such as different equipment or colors. They are beautifully illustrated on durable flat acrylic, so they are easy to store and carry. Again, all at a fraction of the price of standard minis. Monsters include 10 types of dragons, each in 4 sizes, hordes of goblins, orcs, kobolds, gnolls, and lizard folk, undead skeletons of all kinds, plus zombies, ghouls, and vampires, dinosaurs and prehistoric beasts, giant sea monsters, subterranean terrors, common animals, mounts, reptiles, and insects, NPCs, villagers, warriors, casters, and heroes from tons of different heritages, elementals, fae, and fiends, legendary giants, pretty much every creature you need for your adventures. Bring your games to life with 1,000 plus acrylic monsters, heroes, and NPCs cut to shape for easy and immersive use in your tabletop RPGs. Stunning tokens that are long-lasting, portable, vibrant, and perfectly priced. Back the RPG Essentials Kickstarter today. I know I'm about to. You might consider doing so as well. Okay, cool. So, my team and I have been kicking around the idea of making our own game system. Now, here's the thing. We're not doing this as a sort of gut reaction to the OGL stuff. That's not really our motivation. I have been poking at designing a game system of my own that's probably not going to be too related to what we're going to end up doing. But we were at a team meeting the day before yesterday on Tuesday, and we were just talking about the idea of, should we just make a game system, you know? And my team members all seemed very excited about it. Ed Robinson, our lead developer, has been wanting to make a game system for like decades probably. Penguin Butt Sunny was super excited to make our game system. I know Thomas, he does editing for us. He does interior layout and design for us. He was super excited to do make our own game system. And then Zach was all for it, you know. And then and I like the idea. I think so anyway, we're talking about making our own game system, and we're gonna start kicking that into gear and starting to do some stuff. Now, full disclosure, this is a multi-year journey. This is long term. This is going to be 3 to 4 years or something. It's going to take a while, right, to start doing that. And we're going to poke at it as we go. Right, all the normal stuff we're doing right now will continue. That was my caveat to my team. As my team was like all getting excited about doing this, I was like, okay, guys, but developing our own game system is going to be on top of all of our current activities. We're going to keep doing everything we're doing right now. Right? We're not going to stop anything. So if we're going to do this, then we have to put it on top of everything else and push and poke it along, right? So everything's going to continue normal as we start working on this. And we're going to the idea though, and this was one of my things that what I want is I want a skill-based game. I want a skill-based game, not a class-based game. I don't want to have to pick that I'm a fighter, or pick that I'm a cleric, or pick that I'm a wizard. I want to just have a character that I can just learn skills. I could be a fighter and be a fighter for a while, and then you probably still have levels, but as I level up, I start taking I want to learn how to cast some spells, and so I learn some stuff to learn how to cast spells, and that I get that skill, you know. And I think that the appeal to me of a skill-based system is that you can pretty much create the character concept that you want. You're not locked into a class like a fighter or a wizard or a cleric. You can kind of do what you want. You have extreme flexibility. And then as you level up, you just pick and choose your path of how you want to level, how you want to create your character. And so I think there's a lot of appeal to that for me. And there's not a ton of, they do exist, but there aren't a ton of skill-based games that are also for high fantasy, like Dungeons and Dragons types games, you know. And the other thing too is I think we're probably going to make a D20 based game, because that will make it like, remember before we were talking about we wanted to make Lair magazine usable for Pathfinder. We want to make Lair magazine still usable for 5th edition. Well, if we want to also have our products that we create usable for our new game system when it eventually comes out, if we make it a D20 based game system, that's going to make sure we have much easier job for us to make our products compatible for everything, you know. And so that's kind of the idea that we're like kicking around, you know, of doing. And I have looked at a couple other skill-based game systems, but there were always things about them that like I didn't quite like. So we're just gonna kind of do our own, and it'll be a fun little experiment. And you know, probably there won't be tons of people that play it and use it. I don't know. But it's more, I view this more as like a passion project of something that my team and I are going to do because we want to do it, because we love doing it. And if it's just for us and a small little bit of the community, then I think that's okay. Because we're just doing it for fun because we like it and we think it's enjoyable and we're passionate about it, you know. So that's it. That's something we're going to work on. I don't expect like I don't expect that it's going to somehow blow up and overtake any of the major established stuff. It's just one of those, because sometimes you do things in life because you want to, because you love it, because you have a passion for it, you know. And my team was all amped up about doing this, so it's like, okay, well, cool, let's do it. Let's do something fun, you know. So sometimes you just do stuff because you want to, because you love it for the sake of doing it, you know, not because you necessarily think that it's going to be the big huge thing that you know. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. We definitely want to make our own thing, though. I see folks in chat are like, you know, check out this game system, or you want to recreate this game system or something. Like, no, you don't understand. We want to do something that's ours. That's ours. We just want to do something that's ours. And if the majority of folks already have other stuff and they don't care about it, I'm okay with that. We're okay with that. We want to make something that we love. You know, it's our creative outlet. It's kind of like for the game master who is homebrewing their own adventures, you know, and because they enjoy homebrewing their own adventures. Some people might say, like, why don't you run a module? You know, you could go get a module and they do all the work for you, you know, or a game master who wants to create their own world. And they're like, well, why do you want to create your own world? Look, you can go run Eberron. You could get Forgotten Realms. You could use Stark Sun. You know, there are pre-existing worlds out there that you could use. And the game master is like, but you don't understand. I want to make something that's mine, you know. I want to run my adventures. I want to run my world. Like, I know I could go use established stuff, but I just want something that's mine. And so I think the same idea applies to that, where it's like, you know, could the game master go buy a module? Yep. Could they go buy a previous established world? Yep. But a lot of times for our own creative outlet and our own enjoyment, we want to do that stuff ourselves. And so I feel like that's kind of the spirit and the mentality of my team. It's like, we just want to do something ourselves, you know, because we think that would be fun and that would be cool, you know. But it's not a gut reaction to the OGL thing, you know, because everybody and their brother is going to start making their own game systems, which is fine, you know. But sometimes you just want to do something because you want to do something, you know, and for the passion of it, you know what I mean? So yeah, there are other game systems that we could just go learn and play, but they're not going to be ours, you know. They're not going to be ours. And we want something that's ours, that you know, that does that thing for us that we're looking for, you know. All right, let's hit some more questions. My 13-year-old niece asked me to learn how to play D&D. She did not even know I played, so it was all her. But I only played as an adult and I'm not sure how to go about it. Tips. Yeah, you just start learning, you just start playing D&D with her. You make an adventure and you start teaching her how to play D&D. That's literally how you start. You can grab a pre-made adventure if you want, or our Into the Fae module goes from level 1 to 5. It's probably a good place to start too. You can grab that and run it for your niece, but you literally just start. Like, you just start, man. Get her at the game table, help her to make a character. There you go. Make a character with her. And then you have an adventure for her to play through, and then you start playing an adventure. That's it. She's gonna learn as she goes. You just start. She's 13 years old. She has no expectations. She doesn't know how things are supposed to be. You know, it's probably gonna just be amazing to her. It's gonna be amazing and fun to her. You should just do it. Don't worry too much. All of the self-conscious like things that hold us back. Like, think of that person's perspective. They don't care. They don't know. They don't know any of this stuff. They just want to play D&D and they're probably gonna love it. Hi, Luke. I have a question about Hound of Shadow Magic Sorcerer. I don't know what that is. If a sorcerer falls unconscious, is the hound disappear or run further? I don't know. It depends on the spell description or something. Like, literally, I would just look up what it says in the book about that. I don't know personally what it says. I don't even know where that comes from. So I don't know that I'm really can answer that question. Sorry. Our walk-in cat still isn't integrated with the other two cats. So, oh, it sounds like you took a stray or something, or a new cat from outside or something, but it's going. Did we do a bad by naming her? We still don't know if she already owns humans or not. I don't understand some of that question. I don't think it's wrong to name a cat. I think that's okay if that's what you're asking. But I do think it's cool to take in cats that need help. Literally all the cats that we have are from strays from out. Every single cat we own was a stray that we found outside and we took them into our house. Every single one. Which is why we have so many cats, because we see stray cats and we're just like, oh my gosh, come, we'll take care of you. And then we take care of them. And then half the time they end up being pregnant and then we got more cats. So my group has finally kicked the bucket due to scheduling conflicts. Yep, that's the #1 cause for gaming groups to die, is scheduling conflicts. I'm getting ready to start a new one. What's important to keep in mind when starting a new group? You just said it. You literally just named the #1 thing to keep in mind when starting a new group. Why did your first group die? Scheduling conflicts. There you go. You start there. That is the #1 thing to consider when starting a new gaming group, especially after your previous one died because of scheduling conflicts. Make sure that as you gather players, there's one advertisement that's the most important thing. You decide when you are available, and you determine when the game is likely to take place. It's either going to take place. You actually might, the best way to do this, in my personal opinion, is to look at your schedule as the game master and decide when it works for you. That's probably the most important thing. When are you able to run the game? Boom, there you go. That's when the game takes place. And then you start looking for players and you say, hey, I'm running a game on this day, this time, every 2 weeks. You know, are you available? Do you want to play? And if they're available and they want to play, then they're a potential player. If you have a player who's like, well, you know, I'd love to play, but I can't do it that day. Well, that's not gonna work. Nope. We're not going that again. We literally just had a gaming group fall apart because of scheduling conflicts. We're not gonna start the next one with the same problem right off the bat. So I think the most important thing is you pick a time and a date that works for you, and then you get players based upon their availability. That's where you start. That's where you start. Now, there are other things to consider. Are they a good fit for the group? You know, are they some like sleaze bag that's nobody's gonna wanna play with? There are other considerations, but the primary consideration is going to be their availability. Can they play at the time or not? And if they can't, then they're not gonna be a player, because you're gonna get yourself into the same boat you were in before. So I really think that is the place to start. Make sure they are available for when it works for you. Pick a date, pick a time, and then go. If you start off with just simply gathering players first, getting 5 people, and then trying to align schedules, then you're gonna have a rough go at it. You're gonna have a really hard time aligning schedules, almost assuredly, and you're probably going to find something that kind of works for most people, but then somebody's going to have conflicts, they're going to have trouble getting there, and then you're just going to start, you're almost going to start the whole thing over again. So advertise your time, you know, to begin with, and get players primarily based upon availability, because the number one destroyer of RPGs is scheduling conflicts. So why not kick off forming a new group by trying to cut off that problem immediately and make sure you have a time that works, you know, for you, and then you pull in players based on their availability. I think that is the best way to start, in my opinion. How do you manage a player that does not know or forgets his character abilities, yet insists on playing complex classes, in this case a cleric? Problem is his combat turns are super long. You skip their turns. You don't put up with that crap. Like, you can't put up with that crap. Skip their turns or have them delay. Like literally, like, this is what you can do. Okay, so you got four players. Okay, this player takes this turn. This player takes this turn. This is the player who can't remember. Okay, well, what are you gonna do? Oh, I don't know. You give them like maybe 30 seconds. And if they still don't know, okay, we're gonna skip you for now. We'll come back to you. This person takes their turn. Okay, what are you gonna do? Well, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna skip you. All right, what do you do? Well, they take their turn, come back to you. Well, I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, then you're just not gonna act this round of combat. You're gonna go first on the next, you know, you're gonna go after the next person. You literally just keep delaying their turn. You're not ready? Okay, boom. Not ready? Okay, boom. Not ready? They're gonna get delayed a lot. And then they're just gonna be like, well, I don't know. Don't let their lack of ability, they're not prepared is what they're doing. They're not prepared to play the game. They don't know their character abilities. They don't know any of this stuff, and they show up, and then they are holding back everybody else's enjoyment of the game. And there needs to be a way. There needs to be, like, you can't just, like, you know, just kick them in the face and like knock their teeth out, right? That's not the right response. But there needs to be a balance. There needs to be like, look at, like, we want you to play the game, you know, and we're going to give you the opportunity to play the game, but it's unreasonable to expect us to wait 15 minutes for you to figure out what you're going to do. It's not a reasonable expectation. Like, you need to meet us halfway. Everybody else here and the game master are preparing for this game so that when we get together, we can run the game and have fun, you know, and you're not pulling your weight. You know, you're picking complex classes, but then you're refusing to learn how to play them, you know, and so that's holding other people back. And so, like, if you're not going to pull your weight, then you're just going to get skipped. You know, you're going to get your turn delayed, and you're just not going to get to do stuff. If you want to play the game, you need to do a bare minimum to prepare to play the game. And so you could just skip their turn entirely and have them dodge if you want to. That would be the more drastic leaning. Or you could just skip them and come back to them after the next person. Skip them, come back. Skip them, come back. And they just keep on getting delayed. You know, they keep on getting delayed. So that's another thing that you could do, but it's not reasonable to just constantly put up with that. You know, the more you put up with it, every time you put up with that and just let them do it, they have no reason to change. They have zero reason to change because you're putting up with it. It's kind of like the person who, like, you know, keeps stealing from a store. If they go steal from a store and they get caught and there are no consequences, they go home and they're fine. What did they learn? Stealing from stores isn't that big of a deal. I could just keep on doing it. Okay. And then they keep stealing and they keep stealing and they keep stealing because there are no consequences. It's the same thing. If your player is constantly unprepared and they're pulling the rest of the game down, but there are no consequences, they have no reason to change. You know, they're just going to keep on doing the same thing because you're just going to wait for them for 15 minutes to do their thing, you know, and everybody else is suffering for it. Like, I think sometimes we get too focused on, like, oh, the poor player. You're gonna skip their turn. Oh, they're gonna get delayed. Oh, the poor player, you know, they just want to play the game, but oh, the poor player. Well, what about all the other players, right? What about the other 4 players who are waiting and are annoyed? What about the game master who's waiting and is annoyed? Like, I think we need to focus holistically on the entire group too, and not just think about the person who's getting their turn skipped or getting delayed. Like, the rest of the group, like, there needs to be consideration given to everybody else, you know, not just the one poor person who, like, gets skipped or whose turn gets delayed. Well, that one poor person needs to be respectful of everybody else's game enjoyment as well. Like, everybody at the game table is responsible for contributing to an environment that encourages fun, you know, and helps everybody get, like, a cool, awesome experience out of the game. It's not just incumbent upon the game master to somehow do it, or like 1 or 2 players. Like, everybody who comes to that game table is collectively shares the responsibility of creating an environment that encourages fun and lets people have fun. And people need to pull their weight on that. And if you have one person that is bringing that down, then that needs to be addressed, and there are ways to address it. So I don't think we should just be like, oh, that poor player. I think we need to think about, well, you know, that poor player needs to be respectful and considerate of everybody else at that game table and do their part to ensure that everybody else has equal opportunity to enjoy the game. I think that is a much more rational way of thinking about it. And if that means, you know, that one player gets skipped and delayed, well, they need to learn to be responsible and to be respectful of other people, in my personal opinion. How do you deal with a group that loses half their party and bringing new members in and getting them on the main plot quest? You don't. Cody, you do not deal with that. That is not the Game Master's problem. I kick that can over to my players. All right, 5 of you in the group, 3 of you just died. You just died. All right, spectacular. We'll create new characters, please. While you're creating new characters, this is what I want you to do. Create a reason. It could be in your backstory, it could be a character motivation, whatever it is. Create a reason that you're going to join the people that survived. You have a reason. You have a motivating factor. All right? Because this is what's going to happen. As soon as you get your character created, we're going to get you right back in this game and you're going to be playing. You're going to show up in this dungeon somewhere very, very quickly. But I want you to have a reason that you're there. I want you to have a reason that you want to join them. I don't care what it is. You make it up, you figure it out, and then we're going to keep playing the game. It's not the Game Master's job to figure that out. That is the character's job. That is the player's job. You figure out how you fit into the ongoing narrative, the ongoing story, the adventure, the campaign. You figure that out. Use your creativity. This is your character. Your character, you decide, right? That's not the Game Master's problem. I put that on the players so that when they make their characters, they can decide. It's the same way when you kick off a campaign. You know, you all need to decide why you want to adventure together. What is your premise for being together? Why do you care about this campaign? Why do you care about stopping this villain? Like, this is all your own character motivations that you need to create so that so that everything kind of works together. So I put that on the player. Have you played Shadowrun? Yes, we had I think we had 2 game sessions of Shadowrun that we played. Joe was our game master for Shadowrun. Those 2, by the way, those 2 game sessions for Shadowrun are on this channel. You can go back in my videos and find, it's called Crossed Wires is the name of the adventure. And we ran 2 game sessions. You can find them on this channel and you can watch them right here. What was the other part of the question? Oh, okay. If so, do you have tips for starting up? I don't have any tips for Shadowrun. I literally knew nothing about Shadowrun, and I played it twice with Joe, and it was Joe and Alex and Kevin who were the ones that knew a lot about Shadowrun and were helping all the other players who didn't know Shadowrun to learn it and actually play along. So I have nothing good that I can share with you about Shadowrun. I've only played it twice, and my knowledge is so crazy limited. It was enjoyable. I thought it was lots of fun. That's really all I could tell you about it. Any ideas what you guys will call your game? We have no idea. No idea whatsoever. What are your thoughts of Pathfinder 2nd Edition so far? I mean, I have lots of thoughts on it so far. I really like it. I can tell you right now that from reading the rules and stuff and playing in a couple of games, that I like it more than 5th edition D&D. I can tell you that much. I am definitely finding myself, like, I can feel my heart and my desire just kind of like edging away from D&D 5th edition, and the more I play and learn Pathfinder, I'm like, wow. Pathfinder 2nd edition. I want to be very clear. In general, when I say Pathfinder, I am referring to 2nd edition. I am not referring to 1st edition, which is essentially D&D 3.5. I'm not referring to 1st edition Pathfinder, just for clarity. So the more I play Pathfinder 2nd edition, the more I'm just kind of like, well, D&D, Pathfinder. I'm finding there's a lot of things in the rules that I really, really like. It addresses a lot of the D&D 5th edition, there's a lot of vagueness, there's ambiguity, there's gray areas. There are parts of the rules that D&D 5th edition does not address, right? And they market that as being more of a lightweight system that the game masters can figure out how to do those things and make their own rulings. And yes, that's true, and that's also part of the problem, because there are lots of things in 5th edition that constantly come up over and over again that the game master has to make a ruling on, and sometimes you have to have discussions with your players, and sometimes your players disagree and stuff because they don't address very common things that come up. And then in Pathfinder, what I've found is that a lot of those things get addressed and they have rules around them. And it is so comforting to me as a game master to just be able to refer to the rule book and say, that's what the rule says, we're done. You know, as opposed to 5th edition, it's like, well, the rules don't really say, so I have to make up something that makes sense to me, that my players will also accept, and sometimes there's a discussion that takes place, and then we have to remember it going forward, which is the problem for me, so that next time it comes up, we remember what our ruling was and why we made that ruling. Whereas if it's codified in the rules book for Pathfinder, it just makes my job easier, my life easier. Now, yeah, I've got to read the rules and remember the rules in order to find them, but there's a comfort in knowing that it's been addressed. Not for like every little tiny thing, but for the big stuff that comes up over and over again, let's put it in the rules. So I really like that. The other thing that I like about Pathfinder is that the balance seems to be way better. This is my initial reaction. I haven't played it extensively at this point, but it seems like they got the challenge stuff balanced out way better than 5th edition. So like you can, and what I've heard too is I watched Rules Lawyer is a YouTube channel that does a lot of stuff about Pathfinder, and I'm playing in his Pathfinder game too for some other YouTubers, and our videos of our games go on his channel. But one of the things that he talks about is there was a video he did about high level play in Pathfinder, and that it actually works. Like you can actually play high level characters in Pathfinder, and the rules are balanced to support it, and it works. Like that's what he was saying in one of his videos. Now I have yet to experience that firsthand because I've not played high level Pathfinder games, but just to hear somebody else say that it actually works, it is like, oh my gosh, so you could actually play past level 12 if you wanted to, and the whole game doesn't fall apart. And one of the things cool to support that whole logic, there are spells in Pathfinder 2nd edition that are designated as common spells, uncommon spells, and rare spells. And there's a reason they designate them that way, because the uncommon spells and rare spells, pound for their level, have greater chance to be unbalancing or game affecting. So that the game master knows, hey, if I'm going to give them this rare spell, I need to be prepared for crazy stuff that might happen. So that if I'm an experienced game master running Pathfinder, I can give them those spells because I know that I can deal with it. But if I'm just new to Pathfinder, I might say, look I'm only going to give common spells. That's it. Rare spells and uncommon spells are off the table for now because I'm new. All right, and that's going to make it easier for me to run a good game for you guys. So they have these things in the system, you know, that help and support game masters so that we can run better games for our players. And I think that is amazing, and I love that. It really seems like I mean, from what I can see from the game systems, it seems like the game designers for Paizo have just done a better job designing Pathfinder, and they probably saw a lot of the things that didn't work for 5th edition and were like, let's make sure we fix those things, that we consider those types of things when we make Pathfinder 2nd edition. So I think what I'm seeing so far is very exciting. I'm very, very happy. I bought out every single Pathfinder book. Like my shelf back there behind me has every single Pathfinder book on it, except for their campaign setting. There was I don't know what the name of their campaign setting was, but I'm not going to be using right now their campaign setting, so I didn't buy all those books. But all of their core rule books, I have every single one of them. Every one of them. I bought them all out. And I bought all of their books before everybody else did too. So like all of you guys are trying to order Pathfinder books and you can't because their warehouses are sold out. I got mine like when this entire OGL debacle began. I ordered my Pathfinder books, every single one of them. And I did a tweet about it where I spent like almost $600 on their books, you know, because I wanted to get all their books, you know, in large part to support them as a company, to support somebody else besides, you know, Wizards of the Coast, who was doing diabolical things at the time, and now the question's in the air whether that's going to continue or not. But I wanted to support Paizo, and I was going to run Pathfinder, so I was like, this is the perfect time to just buy everything, and so I got them all. So anyway, I'm loving it so far. I think it's really cool. I'm working through the books. I'm designing I made my first adventure like a couple days ago or something for Pathfinder, level 1 adventure. So it's cool. I'm really enjoying it. I'm very, very excited to start playing Pathfinder. I'm still gonna run 5th edition games for the time being, but I definitely feel like in here that I'm gonna probably want to start running more Pathfinder games. So, all right, let's hit a quick little message from the sponsor of this video. So, if you guys want to get some really high quality acrylic miniature alternatives, these bad boys right here are really, really cool. I back this Kickstarter myself, and I don't always back all the Kickstarters that I plug. I do always plug things that are good quality that I think people are going to find useful. And these little acrylic miniature alternatives, little tokens, are super portable, very, very high quality. They're made by Daryl T. Jones, who's a well-known fantasy illustrator in the industry. So this Kickstarter is going on right now. It's already backed over $200,000, and they're hitting more stretch goals. It's going to end in like 7 days or so. It ends pretty soon. So if you want to get these things, then I would suggest doing so pretty quickly before the show's over. Like they're over 200,000 right now. The $168 one is the one that I got because it gives me one of each token. I can't actually put my mouse over it, but it gave me one of each token because I wanted one of everything. And then it also gave me the 2 free storage binders. And I'm also getting dice too. I'm getting some acrylic sharp-edged essential dice. So yeah, that's cool. So anyway, if you want to get some really cool tokens you can use in your games, I'm going to be using these things at conventions. When I go to conventions and run games, these are coming with me. I also have some other tokens that I use as well, but these are definitely going to come with me to conventions and stuff. So anyway, if you want to check that out, it ends pretty soon. What was it again? 7 days. So yeah, go get some cool stuff. These are awesome. All right. And let's go back to questions. Here we go. How many hours would you say is reasonable for an adventure to last for a group that plays every week? You're talking to the guy who makes adventures that are probably too long. I have a very bad habit of making adventures that are very long. Ask my Ancient Dragon group. So part of my Patreon is that I run a D&D game, a D&D 5th edition game for a group of patrons, and they're called my Ancient Dragons. So if you go to my Patreon, they're my Ancient Dragons and stuff. And I run a game for them, and we literally just came from a massive temple that was like, oh my gosh, this temple was, to put this in context, there were 3 milestones. There were 3 leveling milestones in this temple. This temple was so big and there was so much content. There were like 3 big levels, and then they had 9 different spires that went up that had tons of different levels, and they gained 3 levels, 3 entire character levels by going into this temple. And I made this massive, huge temple. I regret it now. I think it was way too long. I should not have made it so big. But they just went into this massive, huge temple. I think it took us, I don't know how long, it took us like a long time to clear out that temple. And then now they're heading to another adventure that actually is probably pretty long too. So you're asking the guy who makes long adventures. I don't know that that's good. I just get really excited when I'm making an adventure and I'm like, oh, this is cool, and this is cool, and this is cool. And then I'm just like, and then the adventure's like long, you know? I think it's probably better to have adventures that maybe, I feel like 3 game sessions is a really good length for an adventure. You know, if you try to get an adventure done in 1 game session, you're probably cramming it all in and then you're rushed. 2 game sessions is probable, but sometimes you're still gonna feel rushed. Like 3 game sessions, you're gonna have a decent sized adventure where you can do some stuff, you're not feeling rushed, you know, and it doesn't get boring, right? If you're doing the same adventure for like, 10 game sessions, that might get old. I felt when I was running that temple for my Ancient Dragon group, I felt that it was getting old and stale to me. I was getting bored of it. I don't know how my players felt, but I, as a game master, was getting bored, and I was like, this adventure is going on too long. I shouldn't have made it this long. And so I think you can have an adventure that goes too long, and then people might get bored of it, right? Because you want variety in the game as well. And so I feel like if you have an adventure that takes about 3 game sessions to go over and to complete, that feels like a pretty good cadence for me. When my friend Kevin, I have to remember his real name. Well, a lot of times in the games, I would never call them by their real names, and so my friends, I just know them by their character names. But I have to think when I'm like, what is his actual real name? Kevin. When Kevin recently was running Savage Worlds for us, it was the superheroes version, and we were playing it, and he got it done in 2 game sessions, but he had to skip a bunch of content in the second game session because there just wasn't time to get it all done. And so it kind of got crammed in a little bit. And in retrospect, now that I was thinking about it, I don't think that we needed to cram it into 2 game sessions. Like, I feel like it would have been fine for us to spend another game session to do the things that he had planned, because they were super cool. There was no reason to rush, you know? And so I think that's a case in point of it's okay for it to take 3 game sessions. If it feels natural and it allows you to play the game and experience the game, and you're still having fun and stuff. I was still having fun. I would have been happy to play a 3rd game session, because there were some things that we didn't get to do that would have been really, really cool. You know, so that would have been awesome to me to do that. So I would have been fine with 3 game sessions. I think that's what I guess I'm just saying that I think that's probably a good thing to aim for is what I'm saying, I guess. And I'm not, if anybody is wondering, I'm not at all criticizing or knocking Kevin for doing it in 2 game sessions at all. I think he probably felt that we wanted to get it done quickly because a lot of the players are very excited to run Pathfinder. And so I think he was trying to make sure that he didn't take up too much time, because everybody was really excited, is currently excited to start doing Pathfinder. So he didn't do anything wrong. I'm not trying to knock him and say that he did a bad job or anything. He did an amazing job. I think there were external forces that he was like, I should get it done in 2 sessions, but I would have been perfectly happy. I'm just saying 3 sessions would have felt great too. So I hope that's clear. I'm not trying to like say that he did an amazing job, and I don't want anybody to think he didn't, you know what I'm saying? All right. My party is going to enter a cult temple without any healing or spell slots left. How do you make sure the battle will not be over in 1 round? That's not my problem. Debbie, that's not my problem. That's not your problem. Not your problem. I feel like your responsibility, perhaps, is to give the classic tried and true, are you sure? So this is what I would do if my players were out of resources and they're about to go into a temple that I know has a bunch of baddies in it, that they're going to need resources. They're going to be like, okay, let's go into the temple. I would simply say, okay, you guys, I want to make sure I understand this properly. You're out of spell slots. You're mostly out of other resources. And there's an entire temple here. And having no resources, you guys are going to go into that temple right now. I just want to make sure that I understand this properly. Now, that is a subtle to overt message to my players. That is me essentially giving them permission to go take a long rest or something. So without saying, hey guys, if you go in, you're screwed, don't do it. I simply say, I want to make sure I understand this. You have no resources, and yet you're going into this temple to take on cultists. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. And that is enough for my players to be like, okay, this is the game master telling us that we have his permission to go get rested up. We don't have to. He's not telling us. Like, if I were to say to them, you guys are screwed if you go in there, that's too much. That's too heavy. That's too heavy. Like, I don't want to do that to them, because then they feel like, well, now we have no choice. We have to go rest because otherwise the game master has promised us death. Like that, so that's too heavy-handed, because then I'm like, I'm really heavily influencing what they do next. I don't want to force them to do something. I always want my players to be able to make their own decisions and decide what they're going to do. So, but I want them to know in a situation like that it would also be okay to rest, right? And so that's the message I want to communicate to them. And so by asking them the "are you sure" helps communicate that without forcing their hand, because I still want them to choose. And so that's what I would do, just so that they're aware that might not be a good idea. So, but we're also allowed to go rest, you know. So, because sometimes players feel either they feel like there's a ticking clock where they can't rest because something bad will happen if they do, or they might just be on the verge of a bad decision or something. I don't know, you know. So if you see potential disaster and problems, there's nothing wrong with just recapping the situation. Just do a recap. Let me understand this correctly. This is what's going on and this is what you want to do. I just want to make sure I understand this. And there's a way to paint that, right, so that they know that it's okay for them to go take a long rest or something without overtly stating stuff. You know, most players in RPGs, like, you know, are clever. They'll probably get it, you know. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not even gonna talk about that. Sorry. Well, I guess I should just read the question before I cop out. I'm planning a flashback to lead into a campaign based on Bane and the Dead 3 with a Diablo 1 ending twist. Suggestions on how I can turn the party into Generals of Bane instead of a TPK. Oh, actually, you know what? I can offer something interesting about that. So I know who Bane is. I know who the Dead 3 are. They're Forgotten Realms deities. I don't know the Diablo 1 twist. So the Diablo 1 twist, if you played Diablo 1 back in the day, the way that, so that the hero, you go into the dungeon in Diablo 1 and fight your way through this entire dungeon, and then finally you get down to Diablo, who's the main boss, and you fight him, but there's this soul gem. And this soul gem has the essence of Diablo in it. And in order to contain the soul gem, the hero plunges the soul gem into his own chest to hold that power and evil within himself. But over the course of Diablo 2, the hero becomes corrupted and eventually turns into Diablo once again. And so they want some sort of ending similar to Diablo 1, with only with Bane and the Dead 3 in the Forgotten Realms setting. So here, and they want to know how they can turn the party into Generals of Bane instead of a TPK. You can't. So what you're trying to do, what you're suggesting, is you want to write the story ahead of time. You are suggesting that you want to set the outcome of your campaign in stone. How can I go about ensuring that my players decide to do a thing? They decide to side with Bane, and I don't think you can do that without taking away their agency. This is a course that I would strongly dissuade you from. Forcing them to do a certain thing, it steals agency, and it won't be extremely satisfying for your players if they have no choice but to side with Bane. Like, we fought this entire campaign, we fought, and then finally we get to Bane. We're having a fight at level 20 against an avatar of a deity or something, and now the only solution, the only way we can win, is to become lieutenants or generals of this horrible evil villain. Like, and then if that's the only way they can win, like, that's going to be very dissatisfying, and the players are probably going to say, screw it, there's no way, kill us and be done with it, you know. So I would not suggest you try to force their hands on that and take away their agency. That's not a good way to go. Instead, what you can do, you can still offer them the chance. So like when they fight against Bane in the final boss fight, I'm assuming that's probably what's going to happen. There's a dialogue that takes place beforehand where Bane is like, you know, you guys got through all my minions, good job, yay, I'm still going to win. However, if you want to join me instead of fighting me, the offer is here. This is what I will do. If you stop what you're doing and join me instead, I will make you generals. I will make you lieutenants in my army. You will have your own areas of power where no one can challenge you, and you will be at the height of power, and I will give you all of these things. So I would have Bane tempt them with power, riches, whatever, so that they would join him. Put the offer out there, but let your players decide. They're almost assuredly going to refuse. I've done this before. They always refuse. Players always say, screw you, sleaze bomb. We're going to kill you. Prepare to die. This almost always happens, which is fine. But you give your players the choice. Join me or fight me. And then you design a climactic boss battle that is very challenging, but is still possible for your players to win. And that, I think, is the balance that I would strike. So you can still present this scenario of the players' characters joining Bane, but they're not forced into doing it. If they want to fight, which will almost assuredly will happen, then they can have a really cool boss battle at the end. And as a player, let me tell you something. I want that boss battle at the end. I want to fight that boss battle. I don't want to. Here's the thing. Boss battles like that are fun. Crazy amounts of fun. It's awesome. Even if you die, it's awesome. I want to fight that battle. Like, as a player, I would not take the offer because I want to have that fight because it's fun. I once watched an actual play game. It was the campaign finale, and the players literally had that choice. The players had the choice of fighting this evil infernal lady or joining her. And the campaign finale was about 3 hours or something. I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit, but it was for sure a 2-hour thing of 2 players talking back and forth and discussing whether they should join or fight. It was like a 2-hour discussion. And then the other players were sitting there mostly bored from all I could see. And then in the end, because one of the players wanted to fight and the other player was arguing not to fight because they couldn't win or something. The other players were mostly indifferent, it looked like, from their interactions on that live stream or that actual play. And then at the end, after like hours of discussion, they decided to join and not to fight. And as a viewer, I was like, wow, that sucks. You know how fun it would have been to see a big boss fight? And then as the players, I was thinking about the players too. I was like, wow, like, wouldn't it have been really cool for the players to have a cool boss fight instead of having a 3-hour discussion about whether to fight or not? Like, that would have been a much more fun way to end a campaign, to have a big, huge boss fight against this bad person than just like talking and then making a deal. That was like a letdown. As a viewer, probably some of the players were let down from that, because, so I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure that the game master justified it as that's what would have happened type of thing, but I don't know. So all I'm saying is that as a player, there's a reason that I would want to fight because it's more fun. It's way more fun than making a deal. But anyway, there's your answer. Yeah, that was somebody's actual play where that happened. It was their campaign finale. Now, what would also be really fun is if like 2 of the players joined Bane and the other 3 didn't, and then you had a fight. That would be lots of fun too. So one of the things you might consider when you're designing that boss battle is, how can I incorporate that idea? Like, what if 2 of the players join Bane and then there's a fight and they're on Bane's side during the fight, right? You need to have a way to balance that a little bit so that it's not like a total murder kill of the players that are fighting Bane. So I would, as a game master designing that final confrontation, I would probably try to consider that possibility in my design of that battle so that I could adjust things as needed to still make it be an awesome battle where they actually have a chance. It might be still really crazy hard, but they still have a chance. That's me as a game master designing good gameplay, right? Because you have to balance between like, the narrative and like the ongoing story and stuff. And you have to balance between that and you have to balance the gameplay as well, because we're still playing a game. So you have to balance both of those things, right? And strike that somewhere. What are some tips to avoid GM burnout? The very biggest tip that I can tell you to avoid GM burnout is to take a break. Take a break. Take a break. That's why you get burned out. Like that's like one of the main reasons you get burned out is because you keep on doing it and you keep on doing it and you keep on doing it and you keep on doing it, and it stops feeling like fun. It starts to feel like work. That's where burnout comes from. You're doing it too much. It's like going to the same restaurant every week. It doesn't matter how good that food is. If you go to that same restaurant every week, eventually you're not going to want to eat there anymore. So if you're getting burned out and you can feel that enthusiasm dying down, then you need to take a break. Have one of your other players be the game master for one shot. Like, this is literally what I'm doing. So when we finished up our Curse of Strahd campaign, I told my players, guys, there's two things I need to do. One, I want to take a break from being a game master for a while. Two, I do need time to prepare the next campaign because I'm running a homebrew campaign for them. I need time to get it ready. So in order for me to take a break, one, and also have time to prepare, I would like you guys to run one-shots for us. And here's the other thing. I want you guys to run one-shots in different game systems. We've been playing 5th edition for like 5 years now. Let's play some different game systems. Like, most of my players have played different game systems. Some of them are very experienced and have like decades of playing lots of different game systems. And so I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. Let's play some different game systems, and you guys run one-shots for us. That way we can do some other cool games and stuff besides what we've been doing all the time. And I can recover from a little bit of burnout, perhaps, and I can get ready for the next campaign. And that's how I dealt with my slight feelings of burnout. And this is what happened. As a result, I am now fired up to start this campaign. And we're gonna be running Pathfinder 2nd edition, only set in Eberron, and I'm excited. I'm reading this stuff, and I was actually all of yesterday. Do you know what I was thinking all yesterday? I'm literally planning our first adventure right now. It's mostly done, and I have a few things I need to tweak on it. All day yesterday, there was only one thing in my mind all day yesterday. I want to work on my adventure. I want to work on my adventure. I want to work on my adventure. But do you know what? I couldn't. I had work to do. I was working from the time I got up until the time I went to bed. I had work I had to do. I was working on stuff for the business. I had some one-on-ones with some team members, and then I do some volunteer work at my church. And so like the whole day I was just working the whole day. But do you know what I really wanted to do? I really wanted to design my adventure. I wanted to get my adventure finished, and I'm not going to be able to do that till probably tomorrow or Saturday. But my point is, because I took a break, because I got away from it all, and was able to relax and stuff, that fire is now rekindling within me. And now I'm getting excited to do it again. And now I'm like, let's go, let's do this, And so I think that is the number one thing to avoid GM burnout, from my experience, is to take a break, do something else, and then just relax a little bit, so that you can start to get excited again, and then it'll start feeling fun once more, and it won't feel like work. That is one of the things you can do. That's probably one of the big things for me. All right. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go get the Now, if you're looking for hundreds of beautifully illustrated monsters that you can use at your gaming table, and at a fraction of the price of unpainted minis, the RPG Essentials Kickstarter offers exactly what you need. RPG Essentials offers a new perspective on fantasy gaming minis. These acrylic top-down tokens are durable, portable, and at a great price on Kickstarter right now. Each monster is illustrated from above, so they beautifully and seamlessly integrate into your RPG maps. Every illustration is painstakingly detailed by acclaimed fantasy illustrator Daryl T. Jones. Immersive and dynamic gameplay has never been easier. Bring every encounter to life. Enjoy more engaging and tactical combat. Fill your dungeons, forests, caves, and cities. You no longer have to use coins or buttons or M&Ms to represent creatures in your games. RPG Essentials has monsters for every adventure. All tokens have at least one variant available as well, such as different equipment or colors. They are beautifully illustrated on durable flat acrylic, so they are easy to store and carry. Again, all at a fraction of the price of standard minis. Monsters include 10 types of dragons, each in 4 sizes, hordes of goblins, orcs, kobolds, gnolls, and lizard folk, undead skeletons of all kinds, plus zombies, ghouls, and vampires, dinosaurs and prehistoric beasts, giant sea monsters, subterranean terrors, common animals, mounts, reptiles, and insects, NPCs, villagers, warriors, casters, and heroes from tons of different heritages, elementals, fae and fiends, legendary giants, pretty much every creature you need for your adventures. Bring your games to life with 1,000 plus acrylic monsters, heroes, and NPCs cut to shape for easy and immersive use in your tabletop RPGs. Stunning tokens that are long-lasting, portable, vibrant, and perfectly priced. Back the RPG Essentials Kickstarter today. I know I'm about to. You might consider doing so as well. Okay, cool. Let's do some more questions here. Oh, I already answered this one. Oh, wow. Row 29. I'm clicking off row 29 right now in the spreadsheet moderators, but I answered it a while ago. I don't know if you can fix that. According to you, how many sessions or adventures is generally okay to pass before a party gains a level? Players would like to level up every session, but as a GM, what time find acceptable? No, don't do it every session. That's too fast. It's too fast to level up every game session. They literally, you're gonna spend all your time leveling up, and then they're gonna be learning new things and learning new spells, and then they're gonna do it all over again. You know, that's way too fast. Way too fast. I feel like leveling up every 3 game sessions is a pretty good cadence, which is also the cadence that I try to have for my adventures. An adventure lasts, if I can, 3 game sessions, and then they level up after 3 game sessions. I think that's a good cadence. It gives you enough time to get your new spells, get your new abilities, learn them, use them, and have fun using them for 3 game sessions. But then at that point, you're probably getting bored with them and you want something new and something shiny. And then you give them something new and something shiny. So I personally feel like 3 game sessions is a really good cadence, which is part of the reason that I say 3 game sessions for an adventure, because then you can basically level up after every adventure. Now, that said, at early levels, I usually try to get people through level 1 and level 2 as fast as I can. So level 1 is usually going to be after the first game session. Level 2, that might take 2, maybe 3 game sessions. But I'm going to try to get the people to level 3. If we're talking 5th edition, D&D, get people to level 3 quickly, because there are problems at really low levels in 5th edition. So yeah, that's my answer. Late to the party, will you be making more Savage Worlds content? If you're talking about running the game, oh, by the way, John Healer, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. If you're talking about, are we going to be playing more Savage Worlds gameplay? We're not currently planning to do that. Right now, the current plan is Trevor is going to be running a Pathfinder 2nd Edition one-shot, which he says it's going to take 1 game session. I bet it's going to take 2. So he's going to be running a Pathfinder 2nd Edition one-shot. And then after that, I'm going to start my own campaign, Pathfinder 2nd Edition in Eberron. And we're going to run that. That's going to take us, usually my campaigns take about 3 years. That's just what they take, because we go from level 1 to level 20. And that usually takes 3 years. Now, we're going to be doing it in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So whether that changes how long it takes, I don't know, because it'll be my first time I'm running Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So we'll figure that out. But the no more Savage Worlds for right now is as far as us playing that game. Unless I need a break and we do some one-shots or something, because I really liked Savage Worlds. That was a really cool game system. We were playing the superhero version of it. And I love superhero games. I love superheroes, you guys. Like Marvel and some DC stuff. Like, I love superhero stuff. I love that stuff. So a role-playing game where you're a superhero, oh, I dig that. That is super, super cool. So there might be some more one-shots for that in the future, but no promises, no guarantees whatsoever. Because we just haven't discussed it. It'll just be kind of like happenstance, because it just happens to happen and it comes up if it does happen. I hope that makes sense. It's my way of saying maybe with 0 commitment. I got a cat right down here. Orange is like right here, wants attention. Actually, we should give my cats some treats. Hold on a second. Let's give my cats some treats because I got cats bugging me. And then I'll keep doing questions. Come on, get up. Move your butt. Let's see how many cats I can get to come down here. Where's the room cam? There we go. I got 4. Oh, I got 5. I got 5. Little girl. My dog is getting excited too, though. The dog's getting all excited. All right. Yeah, I know. I know. All right, I gotta give the dog something too. My dog is getting excited. The dog has her own bones. I'm gonna give her a couple bones. What's up, Zozo? Zozo! Oh, she has a treat too. I'm gonna give her some of her little treats. She's down here. Her tail is like whacking my leg. She's excited. She's getting all tangled up too. Don't get tangled. Don't get tangled. All right. All right, come here, Zozo. Come here. Here we go. Food, like, my dog's life revolves around food. I swear. She loves it. All right, I'm gonna keep. I'll leave the screen so you can watch my kitties, and then I'm gonna keep answering questions here. Salt Shaker Racing, thank you for the $2 super chat. You want me to review your DM creation in our Discord channel? It was posted at 9:27 p.m. yesterday. Maybe. I'm gonna see what it is. Where is that thing? Review my DM creation. I have to find it. We could probably take a look at this really quick. I'm gonna punt on this until my cats are done, and then we'll come back to this. So we'll get there in a second. Stand by. Demo Boy, thank you for the that's a member question. Thank you, dude, for being a member. Question is, how do I, from a DM's perspective, integrate concepts and other genres into D&D, such as integrating diesel punk with fantasy? That's so my gut response is gonna feel like a cop-out, but you just do it. Like you just pick the thing that you want to integrate and then you do it. Like if there's something from diesel punk that you like, if you like the idea of the characters riding around in vehicles that have like spikes on them and stuff, and then vehicle to vehicle combat is something that's really important for you, then you do it. So you make your game world and you say, okay, we're running fantasy games. It's high fantasy, D&D, Pathfinder or something. And how do I do like vehicle combat? Okay, well in my game world, adventuring groups and villains all have vehicles. Like vehicles are a thing. Okay, what kind of vehicles are they gonna have? Well, they have like something like a wagon or something, only it's made out of metal and there are spikes on it. And it's not gonna be drawn by horses. We have monsters that draw our wagons. So our wagons are drawn by little dragons, or they're drawn by chimeras, or they're drawn by hydras or something. Like that's the thing in our world. Like adventurers and villains a lot of times get around in cyberpunk-like vehicles, only they're drawn by fantastical monsters that, you know, like they're hooked up to dragons, they're hooked up to hydras and stuff like that. So you just start thinking like how there's this element of a genre that I think is really cool. How do I put it into my high fantasy D&D, Pathfinder, Savage Worlds, whatever game? How do I do that? And then you fantasize, you figure it out, and then you start thinking about game mechanics. Well, how do the game mechanics work, you know? And then you try to figure that out. And so that's how you do that. Now my dog is trying to find stuff. That's the high level of how you do that. She's gonna sniff around down there. She sounds like a little pig sniffing around. At the high level, that's how you do that. Now the details are up to you. Figuring out how you do it, the creativity, that's you, right? Figuring out how to tweak your game mechanics, that's up to you. That's you, right? But I just gave you the high level process for how to do it. So that hopefully gives you a place to start. This dog is so loud. Zoe, you're loud. She's so excited. She gets so excited for food. Let's see. Anthony Peterson, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says for your cats. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go to that DM creation thing, and we'll read through and take a look at that. Over my Discord. So it's right here at the bottom. Jeez. Okay, hold on. You're not gonna be able to see it on my screen, so I gotta resize some stuff a little bit so you can actually see it. It's still super small. I can't zoom in on this. I don't know how to. It's not gonna work. Hold on a second. I gotta make this so you guys can actually see this, so it's like meaningful. There we go. There we go. Now we can actually see it on screen. So this is the one that we're gonna take a look at. You may not like this. I don't know. I haven't read this before. Fire Dragon's Ante. It's a wondrous item, a deck of cards. It's very rare. It requires attunement. All right. This beautiful ornate deck of cards has a strange warmth radiating off of them. It has 70 one-time use charges, and then card toss. Range or area, 5 feet to 25 feet, 5-foot cube. Okay, got it. As an action, you pull a card from the deck and make a ranged attack against an armor class of 10 at a point you can see. If the armor class is not met, the card flies to a random 1d8 location around the spot you were aiming for. When it lands, it creates a magical bonfire that lasts for 1 minute. The bonfire fills a 5-foot cube for the duration. Any creature in the bonfire's space must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d8 fire damage. Okay, so it's a little bit of damage. A creature must also make the saving throw when it moves into the bonfire's space for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. Okay, that's okay. Bonfire ignites flammable objects in its area that aren't being worn or carried. The damage increases by 1d8 when for each additional card thrown at once. Oh, snap. So you could take out 50 cards and throw them all down, and it would do 50 d8 damage. Holy poop balls. That's why it's very rare. Okay. That's powerful. Planted. Because when I was first reading it, I was like, 1d8 damage is like nothing. That's not that big of a deal. But once you can increase it and pull out multiple cards, that gets crazier. As an action, you can pull a card out of the deck and plant or pin it to a creature or object. After doing so, speak the command word and the card will erupt into flames, igniting flammable objects in its area that aren't being worn or carried. If it is on a creature, they must make a sleight of hand check to remove the card. On a failure, the target takes 1d8 fire damage, half as much on a success. Only one card can be used in this way at a time. Okay, so for this one right here, when you say when you can plant it on a creature, there needs to be a mechanism whereby you might fail. I don't think you should be able to automatically plant it on a creature. Like if I'm in battle with an enemy, being able to automatically just pin it to them, that's not fair. They should either need to make a saving throw or you should have to make an attack roll in order to be able to get it on them. I think that's only fair. And then if they fail or if you hit them with your attack roll, then they take the damage. Now, you might say that, then after that point, every turn they take more damage unless they can take it off. And I don't think sleight of hand. You're planting it on them. Oh, so when you plant it on them, you're like slipping it into their pocket or something like that. Okay, that's cool. And then they have to make a sleight of hand check to remove the card. That doesn't make sense to me. A sleight of hand check is when you do something to avoid notice. Like if you were to make a sleight of hand check to plant it on the person, that makes more sense. And that actually, that might be what you do here. When you use your action to plant it or pin it to a creature, that's when you make a sleight of hand check. And that would be opposed by their passive perception. And if you beat their passive perception, then you're able to pin it to them or put it in their pocket or something. Now that makes sense. You could have that be the opposed roll at the very beginning. It doesn't make sense for them to be able to remove the card based on a sleight of hand check. That doesn't make any sense at all. I would take that off. I think that should probably need to make like a saving throw or something to remove the card. Or they might make a, they're gonna have to find out where the card is, which isn't gonna be hard. Like once a card starts dealing 1d8 damage to me, I'm gonna know where it is very fast. It's in my pocket. Holy crap, what's in my pocket? It's burning me. I'm taking my pants off. I don't know. Or maybe I'm reaching to my pocket and taking the card out. So I think that's more like a saving throw. That probably feels more like a, it might be a dexterity saving throw to reach in really quick, grab the card and get it out. That might be a thing. So, but that needs to change a little bit, up to your discretion. Something else would make sense. Now this whole business where it can do crazy crap tons of damage, I don't know if that's reasonable. Like literally you could decide to take out all 70 cards at once. And then this could do 70 d8 damage all in one bang. That, I might put a limit here. You might say that there's a maximum of like 10 d8 damage or something. I might put a limit there. Would be my recommendation there. Now, as far as, it sounds like this sounds cool. First of all, this sounds really cool. I like this concept. This idea is really cool. I especially like the idea of you being able to plant it on a creature using a sleight of hand check. That sounds really cool to me. I think I might put a maximum here as a limit. Something that seems reasonable. It might not be 8d. It might be 6d8, which is like a fireball. Okay, that might be more reasonable too. Now, as far as whether it's very rare or not, I don't know about that. This feels pretty powerful. This feels pretty powerful. I'm probably in the rare or very rare for this, but I don't know. I honestly, I would probably, at this point, I would ask Zach or Ed, if they're in the stream, what they think about the rarity, because they do a lot of our game design. Ed is our lead developer, so this is like his area too, but Zach is no slouch either on game design, so I would ask them what they think for the rarity. But conceptually, I think it's really cool. All right, let's go back to my other screen. Whee! And I gotta pull up my questions. All right, and then I answered that one. Cool. You mentioned that you like superheroes. Have you tried the Mutants and Masterminds TTRPG? Nope, I've never played that before. Sorry. What VTTs have you tried, and of those, what would you recommend? My group all live in different countries. Foundry VTT is amazing. Holy crap. You guys, I have used Roll20 for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't remember how long I've used Roll20. And then I started using Foundry VTT for this Pathfinder 2nd edition game that the rules lawyer is running for a bunch of YouTubers and us. And like I started running using Pathfinder VTT, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. This is like if you grew up eating like porridge. All you ever had was porridge. Flavorless porridge, and you're just like, yep. I'm not dead. Porridge keeps me alive. But man, this is like, it gets the job done. And then you go to Foundry VTT and you're just like, oh, this is amazing. I just discovered that like there's bacon and eggs. There's tortilla and refried beans, and like, holy crap, there's baleadas, and there's like, you know, I could have, wow, there's just like crazy stuff that exists in the world that makes my life happy. So, I would put a strong vote in for Foundry VTT as being pretty cool. At some point, I might have to start looking at using it myself because it's very, very impressive. So there you go. I think that the reason there's a concept in business where the idea is that the first company to market on a thing is usually the biggest company and the most successful company. First to market. For instance, why is D&D the biggest company in the role-playing space? Because they were first. They're not necessarily the biggest company because they're the best, because they have the best product. They're the biggest because they were first. Say so why is Roll20 like the biggest virtual tabletop that the more people use Roll20 than any other virtual tabletop? Like, I think they were first. I think they were, if they weren't first, they were very close to being first. They've been around for so long. That's why they're so big. It's not because they're good necessarily or that it's high quality. It's because they were first to market, you know? They were first to market. Why was Coca-Cola the biggest soft drink manufacturer and probably still the biggest soft drink manufacturer? Because they were first. They were first, you know. Pepsi was second and they were playing catch up, right? But Coca-Cola was first. So first to market many times in the business world means that you're the biggest and the most successful. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have the best product by any means whatsoever. It's just that being first just gives you a huge competitive advantage, right? So yeah, Roll20. Somebody said in Roll20 that it's overrated. And the interesting thing is that I've used Roll20 for like 4 years or something, and there have been zero updates. No updates at all. They haven't changed a darn thing. It's like maintenance mode. Nothing has changed. Literally maintenance mode from my point of view as someone who uses it. And then about 2 months ago, roughly, they made some changes. You can now have like doors and windows and something else that they added to it. And I think the reason Roll20 finally did something to make their product a little bit better is there's such strong competition now. And, you know, Wizards of the Coast is going to have their virtual tabletop that comes out using the Real system or something like that. And so now I think Roll20 is like getting all this pressure of like, they're probably already losing market share and they're worried about the future of their business. And they're like, okay, you guys, just no longer keeping the lights on. We have to actually bring something new to the table. We have to actually improve our service. And now they actually are starting to do stuff to try to improve it. But I think it's too little too late. It's kind of like Kodak, you know, they went out of business because they refused to innovate. They were like, no, digital, forget digital. Everybody's gonna want film, you know, physical products, you know, photos and stuff. And Kodak is like, this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna innovate, you know, we're not gonna innovate. We're just gonna keep doing the same thing we've always been doing. And then they're dead, you know. And I don't know if Kodak ever had a push to go to digital before they died, you know, but like it's Roll20 now doing something is probably too late. It's too little too late, probably. They should have been making their product better incremental, little bit over the years. You know, that's how you do software development, you know, iteratively. You know, you put out like a minimum viable product, an MVP, you know, that gets the job done, and then you slowly innovate. You slowly make it better. You add this, you fix the bugs and stuff, you know, you keep the lights on, but you add this and then you add this and you keep on adding on to it. That's how you do software development, you know? And from what I can see, Roll20 has been static for 4 years until now they're just like adding some stuff. And I don't think that that's probably gonna work, you know, unless they were like, you know, fixing their code base for 4 years. They had like spaghetti code or something and they're just like, well, we need to go in and refactor. We're gonna spend 4 years refactoring code so that we're ready to. I don't think they were doing that for 4 years. I think they were making hand over fist money, not having to do a whole lot, and they're just like, let's do it, baby. We're just sitting here and existing, and we're making tons of money because everybody uses their product, you know. But that ride is, you know, you can't ride that ride forever. Eventually, that roller coaster is gonna go down, and then you gotta, yeah. So anyway. I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing possibilities, you know, based upon what I have seen as a consumer who uses their product, you know. Somebody said in chat they have been updating Roll20 over the last 4 years. I haven't seen anything. I run a Roll20 game like in every single week. Every single week I'm in a Roll20 game. I haven't noticed anything. No, I don't know. Like if they've been updating things, then I don't know what they were. I guess I claim ignorance, and I'm in there every single week. So if they've been updating things, then I'm just an ignorant moron, I suppose. Because as a consumer who uses it every week, I've seen nothing noticeable. Like the dynamic lighting, like we don't use it because it causes everything to crash. You know, I don't know. I don't know. If they've been updating stuff, then I'm just ignorant, and I apologize. All right, I'm gonna move on though. Salt Shake Racing, $5 super chat, says thank you. You were very welcome. Bad Joke Gaming says the things are so small it doesn't affect most games. Yeah. I'll find a question. Any suggestions on running the anthology adventure books as a singular campaign? Yeah, you just string them all together, essentially. Like the way to use anthologies as a single campaign, it's not that hard. You essentially you basically go out to the anthologies, whatever it happens to be. Like the adventures that we publish in Lair magazine are anthologies, most of them. We do have adventure arcs, but a lot of the adventures are designed to be standalone adventures as well. And you basically, if you want to take anthologies and you want to run them as a cohesive campaign, what you do is you go out and you find adventures for every level of gameplay. You get them all lined up, and then you figure out how you're going to make them one cohesive element. You figure out something that's going on. You know, you find some villains, your big mastermind or something, and then you figure out a justification and a reason that strings those things together and what leads from one adventure to the next adventure. You just have to find that reason. That's just you imagining and being creative and figuring. You find the adventures that you like, and maybe as you're searching for the adventures, you find adventures that seem related or something, or you can immediately see a relation, maybe, perhaps, or maybe they're totally unrelated. It doesn't matter. But the key is that you, as the game master, looking at those adventures, you come up with a creative reason that creates that cohesive unit of all of those standalones. And I don't think that's too challenging. For me personally, it's just a matter of creativity and thinking about it, you know, and justifying it, you know. And I don't think that's that challenging, but it does take a little bit of brain thinking and creativity, you know. But that's just what you do, you know, as far as from a process perspective of how to go about doing that process. Could making a deal with a big bad be more interesting if there were more gameplay to the deal making instead of it just being talky? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I would agree with that. So you're actually playing the game, other parts of the game besides just talking back and forth. Yeah, that would make it more interesting in my opinion. I still would want a climactic big boss fight at the end of my campaign. Like for me, like part of the reason that I play role-playing games is I like combat. I like tactical combat. It's fun for me. It's lots of fun for me. So like if I'm running a campaign and we have a campaign finale and we know the campaign's going to be over, I want a big boss battle. Like one way or another, I want a boss battle, man. That is the way to cap off a campaign. That's exciting and that's fun. So that's just me as a player, what I enjoy, you know. So whether it's the big bad that I fight or whether it's, I don't care, but I want that final battle because that's the way to, that's just me personally and my preferences and what I enjoy, you know. You like Cobalt Press Monsters? I love Cobalt Press Monsters. Are they compatible with Pathfinder? I don't think they are. No, they're designed to be compatible with 5th edition D&D. So they're not immediately compatible with Pathfinder. You would have to tweak some things if you wanted to get them to work. And I don't know what those things would be because I haven't run Pathfinder nearly enough to tell you. What's your thoughts on the GM including a long-term NPC in the party? I admit like doing it because it allows me to explore characters I would normally not play. I mean, there's a difference between an NPC and a dungeon master PC, right? If you just have an NPC along for the ride, but they don't participate in combat and stuff, like if you're running an actual character sheet, if you have a literal character sheet, then that's not an NPC, that's a dungeon master PC. And there's a whole slew of pitfalls that you could fall into when you try to run a dungeon master PC. I think I did a video on that at least once that talks about a lot of that stuff. I feel like your justification is that you like doing it because it allows you to explore characters I would normally not play, that I normally would not play. Well, I do that all the time too when I'm a game master, but I never have long-term NPCs, and I certainly never have DM PCs. And I explore characters that I would normally not play by all of my different NPCs, the other NPCs that I put into the game that the players come across. A lot of times they're bad guys. They might be some good guys. You know, they don't have to be a long-term, they don't have to even adventure with, like, I can explore all of those things that interest me as a game master without ever having a long-term NPC or DM PC that adventures with the party. Like, I can get my jollies in lots of different ways that don't involve that one particular way of doing it. I'm not necessarily saying that having a long-term NPC in the party is bad. There are ways you can do it that are fine. I think there are lots of pitfalls to be aware of. One of them is stealing the attention and spotlight away from the players by your NPC. If your NPC is constantly rescuing them, contributing a lot in combat or other things and resolving issues, and your NPC becomes the hero and the spotlight is taken away from the players and their characters and it's more about your NPC, that's a big problem. If you running your NPC bogs the game down because you have an actual character sheet that has to be running combat, and you're also running all the monsters, and that bogs things down, that's a problem as well. And then you having your other NPCs that you're running in the game be favorably disposed towards your NPC or your DM PC, you know, and showing favoritism, maybe giving yourself a lot of the cool magic items and stuff. Like there are lots of pitfalls that you could fall into in doing so. So I think you can do it well, and it can be very interesting and fun for everybody, including you and your players. There's also things to avoid and be careful of too, because it could go horribly wrong. But it's kind of one of those neutral things. It's kind of like, well, you know, is eating pizza wrong? Well, it depends. How much pizza are we talking about here? Are you eating an entire pizza every single day? Yeah, that's probably going to cause short and long-term health consequences for you. Are you eating an entire pizza once a week? Well, maybe you can get away with that, you know, and not die when you're 50. I don't know. Now, if you're eating a slice of pizza once a week, you're probably fine. You know, it's one of those things. It's like, well, you know, it depends. You know, it depends on how much pizza or how little pizza and how frequently. You know, if it's a big pizza every day, yeah, that's not a good idea. You know, it's probably not a good idea. So it's one of those things that could be good or bad depending on how you implement it. Dennis says pizza every day. Jeez. You know, I have a pizza from last weekend. I have this thing where I'm trying to, like, I'm losing weight and stuff, and I have like food plans and exercise plans and stuff, and I am losing weight. But I have this thing where on Sundays I can mostly eat what I want. And so last Sunday I got a big pizza, and I actually got it for my gaming group that we were playing, but it turns out that some of them were, I got like a Hawaiian pizza that has like pineapple and bacon and ham on it, and some of them just don't like pineapple, or one of them was allergic to pineapple, and I just didn't know, and I wish. So anyway, it turned out that I was the only one that wanted to or could eat the pizza, unfortunately. And so we had a discussion, and I figured out what they did want, and so now going forward, I'll make sure I get food for them that they like. But anyway, my point is that I was the only one eating the pizza, so now I have half of a pizza in my refrigerator sitting there that I can't eat until Sunday, because I only eat garbage on like Sunday, you know. So anyway, I don't know what the relevance is of that story, but there you go. There's that story. Pineapple on pizza is heresy. Goliath Cleric says pineapple. That, my good sir, is an affront to all things culinary. Oh my gosh. Meepy says, I worked at Pizza Hut and other jobs. I lived on pizza for months. Never again. And it begins. Pizza Wars. Are you going to eat Luke's pizza? No, that's what I thought. In schools, pizza is considered a vegetable. Oh my gosh. Let's not talk about school cafeteria lunch, okay? My gosh. Poor kids have to eat this crap. Jeez. I like Hawaiian pizza. I like it. Zach Goliath Cleric is like writing up their letter of resignation right now. Luke, I appreciate this great opportunity that you've offered me. It was amazing to be able to write for you and to lead new project development and stuff. And the relationships that I've gathered here and the job experience that I've had here is something that I will cherish forever. But now it's time for me to explore other opportunities as I part ways with the DM Lair. Like Goliath Cleric's writing up his letter of resignation right now. And then at the very bottom it'll be P.S. The hair that broke the camel's back was the Hawaiian pizza. Never again, good sir. I just had an employee quit because of my pizza preferences. No, I'm gonna eat part of it. At least part of it I'll eat this Sunday. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat the whole thing this Sunday, but I'm gonna get at least half of the. I'll get a quarter of it done. Dave Good says, how to deal with a player constantly separating from the group. I keep using enemies, etc. to make life difficult for them, and they accuse me of targeting them. Okay, so if I have a player who is constantly separating from the rest of the group, the first thing is that you 100% better believe that they're going to run into groups of enemies that are too powerful for them, because I designed my adventures to be run by the group, the entire group. So if they're in a dungeon or a location-based adventure and they're wandering off doing their own thing, they're gonna run into a bunch of enemies that were designed for the entire group. And if there's only one of them, their life is gonna be a living crap storm because it's gonna be hard. And that's the way it's gonna be. And then if they're like, Luke, you're intentionally targeting me. You're like, no, I'm not. You're separating from the group and you're running into enemies that are too powerful for you. Stay with the group, my friend. And then if they're like, well, you're killing my agency. You won't let me go off and do my own thing. You're trying to make me stay with the group. Yes, I am. You 100% better believe that I'm trying to make you stay with the group, because it makes for better gameplay. And it makes it easier for me as the game master, because I don't have to run 2 different games at the exact same time. I don't have to run simultaneous games all the time. So yes, I want you to stay with the rest of the group. Is that limiting your agency? Yes, it is. It is an intentional limit on your agency for the sake of better gameplay. And so this is actually when I have players create their characters, I actually have 2 limiting factors that are always a requirement for any character they make. There are 2 limiting factors. 1, you must create an adventurer. You must create somebody who wants to go on adventures. Don't create a blacksmith. Don't create a shopkeeper. We are going to go on adventures. Create an adventurer. Number 2, create somebody who will stay with the party, who will work together as a team. It's okay to go off by yourself once in a while. I'm not prohibiting that. But make somebody who has a motivating reason to stay with the group. Those are the 2 requirements, my friends. Oftentimes there's a third, which is don't be evil, because we're not going to run an evil campaign. But the 2 absolute requirements are somebody who wants to be an adventurer and somebody who will stick with the group most of the time. Like, for instance, if you want to create your dark ranger, your dark loner, who's all antisocial, pulls the cowl and is like, I'm not going to stay with you all. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. That character is not going to work. You need to make a different character. And if you feel that that is limiting your agency, then I agree with you, it is. I am intentionally limiting your agency on a couple different things, because from a gameplay perspective, we need to make sure this game actually works well, you know, and staying together most of the time and adventuring together is going to make this game a whole lot better for everybody. And so that's an expectation that I put at the very beginning when people are making characters. You need to stay with the group most of the time. You need to have a reason to be with the group and adventure with the group, and you have to have a reason to go on adventures. You need to make a character that fits those requirements. Now, everything else is pretty much whatever you want, but I am going to put some limitations on you for the sake of better gameplay. And so this is what I would explain to a character or a player, you know, who constantly wants to separate from the group. And if they're like, Luke, I just don't want to play that game. Luke, I want my character to go off all the time by himself. Like, that's the game I want to play. I want to be that dark loner who won't stay with the group. Like, that is the character concept that I love and I believe in. Like, if I have a player that is adamant about that, I will say that's wonderful. I respect that decision. Unfortunately, this is not the gaming group for you in that case, because that is not the game we're playing. So what I suggest for you is to find a gaming group that supports the type of play that you feel passionate about. And I'm sure there's a group out there somewhere. This is not the group, because that's not the type of game that we're playing. So if you really feel passionate about that, that's wonderful, that's amazing, but you're gonna have to find a different group, because this group is not running that type of game. And it might be that line in the sand where they have to go find a different game. But a lot of times it doesn't come to that, right? A lot of times most players are mature and understanding enough to understand that, you know, there are reasons, there are some limitations placed, you know, on the game. So anyway, there's a bunch of information that might be helpful. Is OSR better than 5e? I don't know. I don't think I've played OSR stuff that I recall, so I can't speak to that. Have you ran or played the Middle Earth RPG? No. I have no thoughts on it. I don't know anything about it. What do you do when players ignore plot hooks? Well, you know, my dog is bugging me. I hope she doesn't poop on my floor. Zoe, are you gonna poop on my floor? No? Yes? Don't poop on my floor, okay? My dog is bugging me. I hope she doesn't poop on my floor. That would not be good. That would be most unfortunate. Let's hope that doesn't happen today. What was I saying? What were we talking about? When players ignore plot hooks. It depends. You know, it really depends. Because my players never ignore plot hooks, but I have a tendency to give them several plot hooks. They might have 5. When I was running my Curse of Strahd game, they sometimes had like 8 different plot hooks to choose from, you know, and they would pick one of them and go do it. They weren't ignoring the other ones. They just had to pick one of them, because sometimes as game masters, we tend to put interesting things in the world, and then players want to go explore those interesting things in the world. And I don't think it's not reasonable for us to put a shiny and then expect them to ignore it because there was something else, there was a plot hook over here. Like, if you put a shiny in the world, your players might go look at that shiny, you know? So the question, the real question is not so much if they're going and looking at something you put in the world or not. The question is more, are they antagonistically ignoring your plot hooks, or are they genuinely just going and looking at something that you yourself introduced into the game world, if that makes sense? And I think that if they're just genuinely looking at other things, it's not that big of a problem. If they eventually get back to the plot hook, right? Like, you mentioned this keep. We're going to go take a look at the keep, right? But then, you know, they might later on go back and do that plot hook that you had put out there, you know? And if they do that, that's fine. Now, you might have a group though that is like ignoring every single plot hook that's out there at all. And like, they just, any plot hook you put, they just won't do it. At that point, you need to have like a conversation with them, you know, like a social like a social contract conversation of, hey guys, you know, as the game master, I design adventures, you know, you guys you need to go do them type of thing. Because there are groups out there, and I've spoken with game masters that have had these types of groups that will just completely ignore everything intentionally because they don't want to do the thing you planned. And that's a problem. That's a problem that needs a conversation, you know, so that they meet you halfway and that they run the adventures that you spend time preparing, you know what I mean? So sometimes it requires a conversation. Sometimes it requires the game master doing a better job of being clear about the plot hooks, and designing plot hooks well too. Like, I don't want to just point the finger at the players. I think the game master needs to do their job in order to make sure that you have really good, strong plot hooks as well. For instance, you know, when you design a plot hook, you want to make sure that there is a strong motivation for the players to go do that thing, whether it's doing a good work, whether it's getting a reward or something. There needs to be a strong motivation, and that motivation needs to appeal to the characters, but it should also appeal to the players as well. And then you also need to be clear about like what that thing is and what the next step is. Like, where do you go next? What is the thing that you need to accomplish? If your plot hook isn't strong, there's no motivating factor, and it's not clear what they're supposed to do first, then you could expect them to perhaps ignore that plot hook because it wasn't a good plot hook. So make sure that you're delivering good plot hooks, and make sure that you're not muddying the waters, so to speak, with too many options, because that makes it difficult for them to pick the right thing or something, if that makes sense. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So, all right, we do have a giveaway that we're going to be doing today. If we could get a link to the giveaway down in the chat, that way people can go sign up for the giveaway. I have been forgetting to plug the giveaway. But we're giving away a hard copy of Into the Fae or store credit on the DM Lair store. And we just put out Lairs and Legends out on the DM Lair store as well, if you want to get your hands on that. It's like 700 pages of 5th edition resources for game masters. It's really cool. So go sign up for the giveaway if you have not already. I'm going to be back in a hot second. Now, if you're looking for hundreds of beautifully illustrated monsters that you can use at your gaming table and at a fraction of the price of unpainted minis, the RPG Essentials Kickstarter offers exactly what you need. RPG Essentials offers a new perspective on fantasy gaming minis. These acrylic top-down tokens are durable, portable, and at a great price on Kickstarter right now. Each monster is illustrated from above, so they beautifully and seamlessly integrate into your RPG maps. Every illustration is painstakingly detailed by acclaimed fantasy illustrator Daryl T. Jones. Immersive and dynamic gameplay has never been easier. Bring every encounter to life. Enjoy more engaging and tactical combat. Fill your dungeons, forests, caves, and cities. You no longer have to use coins or buttons or M&Ms to represent creatures in your games. RPG Essentials has monsters for every adventure. All tokens have at least one variant available as well, such as different equipment or colors. They are beautifully illustrated on durable flat acrylic, so they are easy to store and carry. Again, all at a fraction of the price of standard minis. Monsters include 10 types of dragons, each in 4 sizes, hordes of goblins, orcs, kobolds, gnolls, and lizard folk, undead skeletons of all kinds, plus zombies, ghouls, and vampires, dinosaurs and prehistoric beasts, giant sea monsters, subterranean terrors, common animals, mounts, reptiles, and insects, NPCs, villagers, warriors, casters, and heroes from tons of different heritages, elementals, fae and fiends, legendary giants, pretty much every creature you need for your adventures. Bring your games to life with 1,000 plus acrylic monsters, heroes, and NPCs cut to shape for easy and immersive use in your tabletop RPGs. Stunning tokens that are long-lasting, portable, vibrant, and perfectly priced. Back the RPG Essentials Kickstarter today. I know I'm about to. You might consider doing so as well. Whee! All right, cool. I've got some super chats. I should hit these super chats. Grant Keith, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Hey, what should I do about conflict at the table as a DM? We have a rogue that's making all of our friends furious. It's getting pretty bad. Yeah, the rogue's doing bullcrap. The players doing PvP. They're doing horse crap, rogue crap. They're doing bull crap. That's what they're doing, right? Like I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I have a feeling they're doing PvP crap. Let me just spitball here. The rogue could just be stealing from other characters. The rogue might be sneaking ahead, opening the chest themselves, taking the loot and not telling other people about it. So the characters don't know this is happening, but the players know, and the players are all getting upset at them. Like if that's happening, the PvP needs to stop. Like this is why one of the things I do in my games is I don't allow PvP. Like those examples I just gave are examples of PvP, player versus player. Now, they're not fighting. You don't have to fight and stab each other for players to get upset at each other. If you're allowing any sort of PvP, there is a strong likelihood of the players getting upset at each other. And so I don't allow PvP. And so your rogue player, if he's doing those things, they're no longer allowed. You're not allowed to steal from other characters. You're not allowed to take the loot for yourself and not share it with other people. Like you're not allowed, because it causes problems at the game table. People get upset and then they fight, and then your gaming group implodes on itself. Now, if they're doing some other things that are bad and getting people upset, well, then you got to talk to them and you got to say, hey, these are things that you're doing that people are getting upset about, and then you should stop. Now, if they're doing it and other players are getting upset about them, you could either talk to them in private, or you might just talk to them at the game table and be like, hey, we need to have a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Like, and maybe it's a public thing where people will express their feelings on when the other person does stuff, and how it's making them feel and why it's not a good thing. And you can collectively ask them to stop doing whatever they're doing that's causing the problem. It really just depends on what the specific thing is that they're doing and how you handle that. But you have to do something, right? You can't just sit there and do nothing. If you sit there and do nothing, here's what's going to happen. Good players start to leave the game because the game sucks because of the bad player. So you do nothing, the bad player keeps being bad, good players start leaving the game. Good player gone, good player gone, good player gone. And then you have left the bad player. That's stupid, man. That's bad. You don't want to do that. Man, you got to step in, you got to do something before it gets so bad that the good players are leaving the game. You got to deal with the bad player. Either they stop whatever behavior it is they're engaging in so that people can start having fun again, or the bad player leaves. That's it. You can't just sit there and let them destroy your game on you. Either they change their behavior or they leave. It's pretty simple, There was a cool question here. Jasper's Pearl, thank you for the $5 super chat. I have a player who keeps leaving without a word. Should I invite her back? I think the first step is to talk to her and be like, yo, I've noticed that you keep leaving the game sessions without saying anything. What's going on? Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do to help? And see what she says. And if she's just, who knows what's happening? Who knows what's happening? But I think I would talk to the person first and be like, hey, what's going on? And see what she says. And then based upon that, make a decision, But if they don't respond or anything and they just keep randomly dropping from your game, I'm assuming you're running online, because if somebody just stands up at your game table and walks away, you're probably going to be like, yo, what's going on? They probably are just disconnecting online. Just ask them. But if they keep on doing it and they don't tell you what's going on and it's not a reasonable situation, then you probably need to make some adult decisions at that point about, removing them or something, if it's a disruption to the game or something. I don't know. But I think the first step is to talk with them and ask them what's going on, give them that benefit of the doubt to resolve the situation. I wouldn't just boot them clean, without talking first. I don't think that's a wise nor nice thing to do. I've never looked at any of the Pathfinder 2 adventure paths. No, I haven't. Honestly, I love homebrewing my own adventures. It's tons of fun for me. So right now I'm just gonna homebrew all my stuff. What are your thoughts on setting quests with multiple objectives like Skyrim or other RPGs and letting the PCs know what the objectives are to guide them along? Yeah, it's fine. Like I never not tell my players what the objectives are. Like that part of creating an adventure and having a good plot hook is telling the players what the objective is. Like, why are you doing this thing? What's your goal? Like, the players have to know what their goal is. Always, always. You never just put an adventure there and be like, there's a keep. Go figure it out. Well, what are we figuring out? I don't know. I'm not telling you. Whoa. You want us to, you just put a keep. We're just gonna go in and what? Explore it and kill monsters for kicks? Like, yes, that's why it's there. No. Why are we going in there? You're gonna have to figure that out. No, I don't want to figure it out. Why am I going into that keep? Otherwise, I'm not going to go into that keep. Like, there has to be an objective. You have to give them an objective. Why they're going there. And if there are multiple objectives, that's fine. Have there be multiple objectives. That's perfectly cool. It makes things more interesting if there are multiple objectives, one could say. What do you, I'm out. Hey, I'm out. What do you allow the improvised action to be used for in combat? There's an improvised action? I'm not even aware of that mechanic. Is that if am I like just having a total brain fart here? I am not aware of something in the game called improvised action. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing? It is in 5th edition? Where? Can somebody tell me? I'm gonna get my book. Where in 5th edition is improvised action? Because I have to look this up. Okay, I have the book. And we're gonna get to use the coffee can for this. Where is the improvised action? No, not D&D Beyond. I don't care about D&D Beyond. I don't use D&D Beyond. Where is it in the book? There we go. Sorry, I have a visceral reaction to D&D Beyond. Player Handbook, page 193. Okay, cool. Let's look at this. Wow. Nice. 193. I wonder if it actually tells us what kinds of things it could be used for. I gotta find it. Where is 193? Oh, it's a sidebar. Okay, hold on. I have to adjust my camera because you can't see anything. It's blown out. Stand by. S cam. This will take 2 seconds. Bear with me here. Oops. Ah, crap. I deactivated it. Pushed the wrong button. Damn yeah. Come on, baby. There we go. Probably more legible. Woo wee. Okay. It says, your character can do things not covered by the actions in this chapter, such as breaking down doors, intimidating enemies, sensing weaknesses and magical defenses, or calling for a parley with a foe. The only limits to the actions you can attempt are your imagination and your character's ability scores. See the descriptions of the ability scores? Okay. When you describe an action not detailed elsewhere in the rules, the DM tells you whether the action is possible and what kind of roll you need to make, if any, to determine success or failure. Yeah, I think the answer is, what would I allow? I would allow them to do almost anything. Like, almost anything, and almost everything is going to require an action to do it. And it needs to be something that you can reasonably attempt to do in like a few seconds. So it has to be something that takes just a few seconds to do, and it's going to cost you an action. That's it. There you go. It's an improvised action. It costs an action, and it has to be something that takes a few seconds because that's how long a round of combat takes. And then that's what you're allowed to do. And then depending upon what you come up with, I decide what the mechanic is. So if you say I want to try to break down the door, that's an athletics check. Or you can just make an attack against the door as well. And if you reduce it to 0 hit points, then you break the door down. You know, if they say that I want to climb up the wall, okay, cool. That's just, yeah. So there are no limits to that beyond it being something within a few seconds, and it requires an action. So it's kind of like anything, it's kind of anything. I don't think that helps a whole lot. because I didn't really clarify that, but it's literally what it says. It's your imagination, and then you adjudicate things. So I'm sorry, that probably is a cop-out answer. But that's the honest truth of it. I'm not gonna create like a list of possibilities right now. Let's see, you can stare at my coffee cup, totally empty. Oh, so people are talking about that person who left. What was the real reason? Jasper's Pearl, was that question from Jasper's Pearl? Yeah. So what was the reason that they're talking more about this woman, this lady who keeps leaving in their game? Now I'm curious what the conversation was. What did Jasper's say? They said something up top that I'm trying to find. I'm going back in time in chat to try to see what they said. Oh, Jasper's Pearl says, no, we play in real life. You guys play in real life and she just walks away? Everyone keeps making excuses for her, but my husband and I both agree she's incredibly immature. She just up and leaves the table? She just packs up and leaves before the session's over? Did you all agree on an in time and keep going over it? She doesn't even leave. She just plays with my cats or her phone until we wrap up. Oh, so she stays there and she just does something else? That's ridiculous. I'm trying to find more. I don't know how to even begin to approach that. It sounds like just some of the game she decides she's bored and just walks away from the table, which is disrespectful. Nah, I think it's time for her to leave that game. Based on those clarifying things, I would not be inviting her back. No, I wouldn't invite her back. No, you don't invite her back. She's done. She's done. She's not playing the game. Like when I run a role-playing game, I want players to join me for my role-playing game. If you don't want to play the game, then you're not coming to my role-playing game because I want players. If somebody's gonna just sit there and get on her phone and play with the cats for a while, like, you're not playing the game. You don't need to be there. There's no reason for you to be there. You can leave, and I'm gonna get a different player who wants to play the game. So no, I would not invite her back. I literally had a player once who came to a game session and she was on her phone most of the game session playing something similar to Candy Crush or something. She did not get invited back. She was literally on her phone the entire game session playing Candy Crush. That's it. You know, she would still talk and participate to a certain extent, but she was mostly playing Candy Crush the whole time. You know, like I couldn't see what she was doing on her phone. So after the game session, I asked some other players, I'm like, was she like looking up like her character stuff on her phone most of the game or something? And then two of my other players who could see were like, no, Luke, she was playing Candy Crush the whole game. And I was just like, okay, she's not coming back. Either she didn't like the game and I was running a poor game. Fair. You're bored. You want to do something else. That's cool. Or she just didn't want to play and was playing Candy Crush. I don't know, but she did not get invited back. Jaspers, I feel like you're in the similar boat, man. Personal opinion. All right. Candy Crush Saga during a live game. Bruh. I know, man. All right, we're going to do our giveaway. I gave you guys a moment to get in on the giveaway, so I'm not going to give you another second here. We're going to draw a winner to the giveaway here. And draw winners. Draw winners. Here we go, baby. Drawing the winners. Ooh. No way. Holy crap. You guys are never going to believe this. I almost have to show my screen or something because you're never going to believe who won. Wow. It's hard for me to show my screen because it gives away their email and I don't want to do that. But Goliath Cleric, you won the giveaway. You won the giveaway, dude. So send me a message on Discord and we'll get stuff figured out or something, or send me an email or something. I don't know, but that's pretty crazy. Goliath Cleric works for me. He's one of my full-time team members. And he just won the giveaway. Oh, you don't even know. That doesn't make sense. Hold on a second. Goliath Cleric, You already have Into the Fae, and you already have all of the stuff we publish. So it doesn't make any sense for you to win the giveaway. All right, this is what we're gonna do. Well, I don't know what you're doing, buddy. Goliath Cleric, I will buy you like a Pathfinder book or something. Send me a message on Discord and I'll send you like a Pathfinder book or something. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the giveaway again and I'm gonna draw somebody else because it doesn't feel right to me. So I'm still gonna give you something, Goliath Cleric. Tell me what you want and I'll send you a Pathfinder book or something because you already have all of our products, dude. You work for us. And then I'm gonna draw another winner. So let me go back and draw another winner. Oh crap. This is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to reject you as the winner. I'm gonna I'm gonna repick a winner. There we go. I'm gonna pick a new winner. You'll still get a book, Goliath Cleric, but I'm gonna pick somebody else because I feel like that's fair. All right, I have a new winner now. And let me see. Okay, their YouTube screen name is Conrad Tazinski. Conrad Tazinski, I think is their screen name. There it is. There's Conrad. All right, Conrad, my man, you just won. Dude, I'm gonna send you an email. We'll get you hooked up with some cool crap. All right, so look for my email and stuff and we'll get you hooked up. All right, so now we had 2 winners today because I don't know why Zach is entering the giveaway. There's nothing in the giveaway that you don't already have, Zach. Anyway, there we go. That was cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're done. I think at least I got through all the super chats. Yeah, we got through all the super chats. So we're done for today. I'm gonna take off here. I appreciate you guys all hanging out with us, supporting the content we create and stuff. Love you guys all. I will be here next week. We'll do some more Q&A. It was very fun to do some Q&A that wasn't just talking about this OGL crap, because that stuff gets depressing after a while. I'm glad that there's light now at the end of the tunnel for this whole thing. So, all right, bye guys. It was fun.